Peace, peace, peace to everyone that comes in. We're about to get started with the brother in the
I wonder why.
crystallization and all that is entailed. Let's get a big reveal going on with the war on the crystal
Because that
war.
would be my thing too. I'm like, can they hear you?
Bro can't hear
Oh,
me.
okay. Well, okay, we rocking and rolling. Technical difficulties. I can't really hear Sistar, but hopefully you guys can hear me. We're gonna get off into a very powerful presentation that has to deal with the energy we've been talking about as of lately. But we're gonna go and fine tune our understanding of what this energy is, and so hopefully you guys really enjoy this. This is how we're gonna kick off 2024 with you having a greater understanding of what this energy is. And so when we were first talking, we were talking about us being symbol literate, right? We have to be symbol literate. We understand that symbols change during, throughout time. We've seen regimes like the German nationalist movement. They use the swastika. Obviously, we know that that symbol is much older than the German nationalist movement, and when they used it and stuff. So we understand and we see the importance and significance of how when symbols change, how the people who change those symbols acquire the power for those symbols. All right. We know that if the masses knew, the elite or the gatekeepers, can you hear, brother? I can't I can't hear anything. That's what I'm saying. I can't hear anything. I can't hear. So hold on. Let me. Okay. Not me, them. Oh, okay. All right. I'm just trying to.
Can you guys hear
Yeah,
him?
because
Anyone that
I
is
was wondering. I thought you
listening,
was
we're
probably talking
having
to me.
some
Can I hear
technical
you?
issues,
No, I
so
can.
he
But yeah,
can't hear
okay.
me. I can hear him, but
Yeah.
he
Let's
can't hear
make
me.
sure they can hear me though before we really get into it.
If you guys can hear
Oh,
him, somebody's put something
because
in
I
the
can't
chat.
see for some odd reason. Let me see. Let me look in this chat
Check
too.
on the
I'm gonna look in this chat.
YouTube. Let's see if it's playing. Let me
Look in this chat.
saying.
I don't know.
See,
See, we got BC Carter in here.
acting weird. It's
He
saying
says he can hear.
they said they can hear. I can't even see the chat.
So he says he can hear. Um.
Okay. Well, I don't know what's going on, but let's go, brother.
All right. So he says he can hear. So we'll continue on because.
Well, let's go, brother.
All right. Yeah. So now I can hear you through here. Yeah. So I can.
Oh, you can. So you can hear me on the YouTube. I can't even see anything in the chat. Are you saying something in the chat?
Okay. All right. So
I don't see nothing in the chat. That's
yeah, so basically what we're dealing with you guys is we're saying that if the masses knew about the sexual energy and they understood about the importance of this is the energy that we need to use in order to get to the next level, we would be a lot further along. All right, but that's something that they can't do. They can't let you know that this energy is innate. There's an innate intelligence in you, and it's ran in a way in which it can really take away the doom and gloom of being in this existence, right? Because when we hear a lot of people be like, man, it's like a prison. It's a physical body. You can't get out of it. I wonder why we're here. And we recognize that nothing could be further from the truth. First of all, this is the most wonderful time to be alive because this is the age of great reveal. And we're about to reveal why that is so. All right. And we're going to show you that this sexual energy that you run on is very precise. When a woman in the 20 weeks of gestation for a little girl, when you know that you are having a girl at that age, at 20 weeks gestation, she has between 6 to 8 million eggs. All right. We know that as she matures and stuff and she ovulates and, the egg goes through the cycle, then if it's one egg is chosen, it implants itself in the uterine wall. If it's fertilized in turn by a germ cell given to her by a male, right, that secretes this plasma, and this fertilizes this egg, and this union creates a totally new being. But that's a selective process. Out of all the millions of sperm cells this guy secretes, only one is chosen. Out of the millions, or however many eggs this woman is born with in each cycle, only one is chosen. So a highly selective and highly sophisticated process. And we know that European science subverts that process by doing what? They just go through in vitro fertilization, and they bring beings here who may not have been, who obviously shouldn't have been here, right? And it leads to the chaos. It leads to all the all of the crazy energy we see in this realm, and we wonder why it's so hard to make sense of all of this. But we have to understand sexual energy first. That's the first important thing that we have to understand. And so when we're looking at the sexual energy, the thing that we say is the most important, what I want to get you guys to understand, the things that is the most important is that this energy should not be seen as one-dimensional, right? We only see sexual energy in terms of procreation or orgasms and things like that. But what we were discussing at the FOS squad, we're trying to get you to understand that sexual energy is key to life itself. We just mentioned getting here, all right? The only way you can get here is through sexual energy. The only way you can be maintained is through sexual energy, right? And we're showing you that the most significant part of your development happens in a few stages. One is when you're young, between the ages of 2 to 5, you're releasing all of these androgens or testosterone in order for the body to grow, for the brain to grow. Okay. And then shortly after that, you undergo another transition, which is puberty, right? You reach puberty and you start releasing all these androgens once again, males and females. You start to release these sexual hormones, and these sexual hormones for a boy, because obviously I've been through puberty as a boy, so I can speak for males, right? When you go through puberty, the muscles grow, right? You get sexual secondary characteristics, okay, which is like facial hair and all of this. Your voice deepens and stuff. So this is sexual energy. This is more than just an orgasm, right? Or procreation. So when we hear people talk about semen retention and all those things, I'll let you know that that's okay. That's fine if you want to use your sexual energy or not use it. But what you have to understand, the energy in and of itself is sexual energy. There's no getting away from it. If you choose to not use it and to not use, have orgasms or procreate, then you can use it as energy that makes your muscles bigger or tone your muscles if you're a male or a female, because that's what sexual energy does. It's time to see it revolutionize your way of thinking in terms of how you see this energy. So we're going to take a look at this energy, recognize what it is, and then recognize the vehicle that it uses to travel or to create, okay? And then we're going to also talk about the players behind the game, the artificial matrix, who we should recognize as the key players and key shakers and movers in this game. All right, this is extremely important. So like we said, we're going to get into it. Let me look at this too, right quick. Get into it. So we're about to get into it. Because like I said, this is extremely important. This is extremely important. Extremely important stuff. So, the most impactful characters behind the grand scheme of things in sexual energy, because we have to realize that the sexual energy is mostly feminine on this planet. So let's get rid of arguing about all of the trivial things that prevent us from seeing the truth and garnering clarity. This is mostly a feminine realm, okay? The Kundalini energy and spirit is mostly feminine energy. Most of you who are well versed in the occult understanding or what's hidden already understand that. So we shouldn't have to get into that, but we'll bring up some evidence or bring forth evidence that would help to support that outlook. All right. But what we wanted to show you was the key players in this game, the key players when understanding that the energy is mostly feminine. The key players in this game is the European woman. Okay, is the European woman. You're about to understand it. She understands the knowledge of these crystals. Me and Sister did this video a while back, that when she was showing those selenite crystals, all right, those moon crystals, if you will, when she showed those selenite crystals, who was documented there? Who was there? Who did they allow to be there? The Blanco woman, the European woman. And she's talking about how, because, it was 100% humidity, she couldn't breathe, but she wanted to be around those crystals and that energy. And I'm going to show you why this is significant, because I'm going to show you the driving force behind a cult or hidden thought behind the artificial matrix is really steered by the European woman. You have to realize that. You have to realize that, because the one who has the greatest access and the one who can maximize the energy, feminine energy, is the feminine principle. So we're going to see that the European woman, because she embodies the feminine principle, she is the one that wants to get close to this energy more so than the European male. That's what you're going to understand after this segment. But you're going to understand about the energy in and of itself, the vehicle it uses to travel, and how you can use the energy to your benefit, and stop being someone who struggle on because they're keeping you in the dark through all of the confusion. All right, that's what we're about to get into. So I'm about to share my screen in a second. So just to get, to pull up these articles, we're going to run through them, right? And then obviously, we're going to get into the meat of this, because that's exactly what it's all about. We're going to have some videos to show, but we got some articles to read. This is going to be a phenomenal segment. So I definitely appreciate Sistar for, allowing this to be brought on her segment stuff, because it's very important information, you guys. So hold on, let me prime this right quick, just to set this up, because I'm finna show you guys exactly what we're talking about here. So I want you to know exactly how important they were in all of this. All right. Now this chick, so basically what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna share my screen. Hold 1 second. Okay. All right. And it says making life crystal clear. Okay. So I mean, if you on the channel, you were had the opportunity to be there through the Crystal War series, and you're familiar with a lot of this. So just be patient for those who have already gotten this information. But this is a big part about the building process. And also I'm gonna use different examples too. So it's also gonna help you to garner even more clarity. So you might want to be, might want to stick around. But this chick, Rosalind Franklin, she used a science called X-ray crystallography. Remember, we talked about this. They wrote a paper on this, an article, and it said making life crystal clear. Right here to your right, you can see that it says a collection of protein and virus crystals. Everything is what you got to understand. Everything at the molecular level is a crystal. We're going to make this abundantly clear to you, no pun intended. Everything at the molecular level is a crystal. They use this science to study the matter in the universe, is what you got to understand. So this woman, we're going to show her photo as we scroll down. Her right here, this is a portrait of Rosalind Franklin, okay? Portrait of Rosalind Franklin. All right, it says she was an expert in a technique called X-ray crystallography. Her work would hold the key to discovering the structure of DNA, the blueprint of life. So what you got to understand, the very science that they use to figure out what your DNA looked like, to understand what your DNA was a science called X-ray crystallography, which is a science of how crystals form and function. This is very important, brothers and sisters. You have to understand this. The very science used to understand what life holds at the molecular level that you call DNA was understood by a science they call X-ray crystallography. Now, this is very important, right? Because what I'm trying to get you to understand is, why would they be using the science that studies crystals to look at DNA? Why would they be using that? Because they understood the whole realm is made up of this energy we call crystals. The whole realm. But I'm not finished. I want you to see how, first, what we're doing now is going to show you the position of the European woman as she understood this occult science. Okay, I'm finished sharing my screen again, but I'm going to prep this just to let you know I'm about to prep this so that it'll be easier. And I got it once this information, once I'm putting it together. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Where is this at? Okay, so I see it's right here. All right, so I'm finished sharing my screen right quick for you guys. Very powerful information. Very powerful information is going to be presented right here. Okay, hold on 1 second. Here we go. Okay, this here is Maria Orsic. Maria Orsic was the leader of this Thule Vril Society. Her and a group of women were the ones who Hitler took their occult advice from. Right here, you see this spaceship. She was the one who gave Hitler the information on how to build this spaceship, okay? They grew their hair real long because they felt like, hair was a connection to the crystals around them or the environment around them. One thing that I talked about on the Crystal War segment, the 3-part series, is I said you got to understand this is in World War II. This is significant. This is World War II. This is before a lot of your sci-fi movies about spaceships and stuff like that. Before a lot of your sci-fi shows, TV shows, and magazines and books and stuff about women in the occult and women who involve themselves in sexual energy practices and stuff. This is what they were doing before. Okay, so they already set the stage, and the European woman is in plain sight of this stuff. So you got to look at this. You see Rosalind Franklin. Rosalind Franklin, like I told you, she's an expert in this science that looks at crystals. And she gives this photo to the scientists James Watson and Francis Crick, but yet she gives the European man the credit when she was the one who discovered the photo. Now, mind you, this is at a time in the 1900s, the 20th century, when Blanco women are talking about they're fighting for their rights. Yet Hitler is taking orders from this Maria Orsic chick, okay? And Rosalind Franklin is giving orders to their scientists to let them know about crystallography, all right? You have, let me talk to you guys because I'm finna, okay? And then you have Margaret Sanger. She's revolutionizing the sexual revolution in the 20th century. The Blanco men are taking orders from her. Helena Blavatsky, okay, she's the head of the Theosophical Society. All right, the Blanco man is taking orders from her because they understood that they are the ones who can be the biggest recipients, okay, the biggest beneficiaries of this crystal energy, because it's an energy that's predominantly feminine by nature. Is predominantly feminine by nature, but she feigns this ignorance as to her position. Okay, she feigns this ignorance as to her position, and she goes about acquiring a lot of power in the background. All right, we talked about how in the school systems, over 85% of the school teachers are what? Blanco women. Right? Because we detailed to you that the biggest part of this plasma energy, as we talked about in the Crystal War series, but I'm going to disclose that to you right now, is the biggest part of this plasma energy, which makes it the most potent, is when a man ejaculates. About 80 to 90% of a man's ejaculate is seminal plasma. All right? Only 2 to 5% is this semen. All right, so this is one of the reasons why she becomes the nurturer. Mind you, I told you she becomes symbolic. She wants to mimic Mother Nature. She wants to mimic her in terms of the face of sexuality. We showed you that they make her the goddess, the face of fertility, right? And then she's the face of pornography, but she's also the nurturer. 85% of her, these individuals nurture your children, all right? They remain close to all of the boys because as the boys get older, they understand that the sexual face, or the face of sexual energy, and the face of nurture, of the nurturing feminine principle, is the Blanco woman. And remind you, she conducts this experiment in the grandest in this new atmosphere that we call the United States, where they call it a melting pot. So most men from all walks of life, the European woman is the standard of beauty. She is the face of fertility, the face of sexual energy and sexuality. And the whole world conducts themselves or becomes part and parcel to this experiment, as she conducts an experiment where she becomes the face of fertility and also the one who has the closest access to crystal energy, which is the energy that runs this universe. Okay, so this is what you got to understand. And so what we're going to show you is exactly, how important it is to understand, that mastering this energy is should be the point of your journey, and that understanding what the energy is first is the first thing you have to do, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a couple videos. I don't know, sis. I'm hold on one second. Trying to or I communicate with you in the chat, or you could just hit me up on a text. I just want to, just if you had any input or you said something or you wanted me to. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep rolling. I want to show you guys these videos. Right, hold on one second.
You can't hear on the phone either.
When I turn it up, a lot of times that's echo. Did you say something, sis?
Oh, you can hear me? Yeah, I was asking you, could you hear me now? Because I got on my phone. I was thinking maybe it was the computer. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I can hear you when I when I look at my phone, when I turn the volume up on my phone.
Well, just go ahead, brother. I'm gonna keep muted.
Okay, all right. So yeah, and there's a slight delay. That's why I was waiting. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you a couple videos. We're gonna show you a video, just so that you get an understanding of this. Just so that you get an understanding of this. All right. This is very, very important. Very, very key. Very, very key. All right. So um share my screen. I'm finna preface this by 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, scholarship, education. But overall, here at Sistar and the FOF squad to wake your ass up. All right. So first, we're about to show you water. All right. We're about to show you water. Okay. Let's go. Now pause. I want you to look at these crystals. Look at these crystals. I'm finna come back. And sister, I found out what it was while I can hear you. So you can talk. And I'm pretty sure I can hear you now. I'm pretty sure I can
You
hear
can
you.
hear me now?
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
great, great.
all right. So now listen to this. Listen to this. This was
Hmm.
so crazy what I want to show people. Now, this is what I want you to understand. Now, you seeing this crystal right here, right? You see,
That's
we
right.
don't seen this before. We understand that this is water has crystals in it. Now, this is what I got to get you guys to understand. Now, when I tell you that water is crystals, like everything is crystals, right? We're talking about solid, liquid, gas. It's all crystals. A lot of people are like, man, how can I wrap my mind around that? Well, we're going to show you that the biggest crystal, because remember we told you with the video, when we showed you in the video, we seen them huge crystals, them selenite crystals that Sister I showed you.
Yes.
Like, man, where are these? They're in caves and all that. But contrary to popular belief, we don't know that the biggest source of crystals is water itself. That's the biggest source of crystals. Remember, crystals only show you that they're crystals at certain temperatures.
Maybe that's why. Maybe they don't understand. That's why you tell them that they're crystalline beings, bro. When you say that, they don't understand. Literally, your body is composed mostly of water, which is what indeed crystals.
Which
Being a
is crystals.
crystalline being.
Exactly, because water only when it freezes, it shows you it's a crystal. So when you see snow, if you've ever been in a snowstorm, or if you've seen snow fall real slow and you've seen it as a crystal form, as soon as it touches you in the heat up, it turns what? Back to water. It just
That's
transfers
right.
back to water. And they showed you that matter has four phases: solid, liquid, gas. And then, of course, the one that they don't teach you in school, which is called plasma. So you know that you have a solid, liquid, and gas. And when water only shows its crystals when it's in solid form. So it's just like we said, just because you can see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You can't see it, don't mean it don't exist. When water is in air form or a gaseous state, it's still crystals, but it has to be frozen for you to see that. So, like when you're out, and it's cold outside, and you see the breath, because now it's cold, you can see your breath. And a lot of times, as the humidity, the water in the air, and your nose is cold, or even that water, or it starts to freeze on. You've seen it on men's beard, or it'll start to crystallize. It'll start to crystallize. That breath and all of that water has crystals in it. It is crystals by nature, is what you have to understand. That's the most important part about this. Oh yeah, we finna get into that, Oshun. No, this is finna be deep. This is finna be
Oh
so
man, oh sure,
crazy.
you got to look on my community tab. I swear, like what maybe 8, 9 months ago, I showed the crystal underwater crystal city underwater. Go look on my community tab about 5, 6 months ago. It's pictures showing going up under there, the crystal city and the whole nine. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, so what we about to do is we're gonna take a look at, just to show you, just to confirm this. We're gonna do this. You're not gonna have any doubt whatsoever in terms of understanding you live in a crystal realm. Everything is crystals, okay? Hands down. All right. So we're gonna finish show you another video. I'm finna share my screen. Okay, so you're seeing how crystal grows, how these crystals grow. Crystals grow by forming bonds with one another. Okay, we're gonna go to another video.
Most of us use crystals every day in the form of regular sugar and salt.
Okay, you see this sugar and salt. This is crystals at room temperature. Okay, you use these crystals all the time. Sugar and salt are crystals. Matter of fact, if you go back just a little bit, a lot of times it's even hard to figure out if you're looking at diamonds or
In the
sugar.
form of regular sugar and
Look at
salt.
that. Anyone can say,
Absolutely.
you see what I'm saying, sister? It's hard to realize what you're looking at right now. Unless somebody
Exactly.
unless somebody
Crystals every
told
day
you.
in the form of regular sugar and salt.
So this looks like right. So as when they put this under the microscope, they're going to show you how they bond.
Polarized light, it's an entirely different story. This little trick also allows us to observe crystal growth under the microscope. For this video to make sense, I
So
will
that's called crystal growth. You can look at that a little bit later, if you want to. I just wanted to give you guys some of those sources and stuff. But what we're finna do is we're finna show you exactly what's going on in terms of this. So I'm gonna shoot to this screen right here now. We talked about this on the crystal series. The International Year of Crystallography is an event promoted in the year 2014 by the United Nations to celebrate the centenary of the discovery of X-ray crystallography. If you read over here to your right, it says crystallography is a fundamental science that helps us understand the structure of matter and is critical for material science, healthcare, agriculture, and biotechnology. It is the core of structural sciences, revealing the constitution of minerals, which we know as crystals, and the molecules of life. All right, it says the goal of the International Year of Crystallography was to raise awareness about the power of crystals. Do you hear what's going on here? So these blancos put this stuff together and they said that not only is X-ray crystallography showing you that this is what we use to see what DNA looks like, it is what we understand matter to be. And we showed you, we let you know, and you've learned this in class, that the three phases of matter that they teach you about is solid, liquid, gas. And the fourth one is plasma, which they don't teach you about. But all three phases of matter are all in crystal form. It's just at what temperature that you're going to see the crystal. You've always known this. You live everything about, and see, that's why all this is so profound, right? So I'm gonna show you, like I said, I'm gonna show you why this is important. Because
And
on
the
the
crystals are forming because, like the brother said, remember that's matter, right? Just like you, that's you, because you are the crystal, right?
Mhm.
Matter is building there. That's building blocks. When you hear matter, you're thinking about the building blocks and the structures of the atomic structure of something. That's building. That's making something. That's how the crystals actually formulate, because they're the molecules that are keep duplicating. Like I told you guys about the nanoparticles being an artificial atomic structure that keeps duplicating and multiplying. It's an artificial structure of what you do naturally.
Exactly. All of these things, like, okay, so we got to, like, because I'm finna show you this, like I said, they finna see this, sister, because it's finna get deep. Why? We just warming up. We got to get all of the technical jargon out the way, because like you said, sister, when we discuss these things, unfortunately in our community, we get relegated as pseudoscientists, or they spitting pseudo stuff. And European science and European religion always prevents our people from understanding how glorious they are. And
That's
this
right,
is,
hiding it, hiding
so
us.
we, exactly, we got to be able to decode all of this stuff, demystify it, because we know he excels in giving us a lot of garbage to distract us. He tells many different things about the same thing to different people. All right, so he just switches it up, and we're about to explore all of that. And our people are the living result, obviously, of individuals who have taken the bait hook, line, and sinker, right? Who have been just brainwashed, because we know the devil got dirty laundry, but he only cleans it by brainwashing. All right. So what I'm gonna
Yeah.
show, what I'm finna show y'all is exactly how all of this is done, right? And how it's accomplished. Okay, so we're finna show you something, and we're finna show you how on the surface, when you don't know about this chemistry and stuff, why they're able to accomplish all these things and get away with this. Okay, so what I'm finna do is finna go to this article right here. Go to this article right here about where. Okay, yeah, here it is right here. All right, so I'm finna share my screen right quick. Share my screen. Okay, this right here is cobalt. Remember we was talking about what, we looked at the esoteric side of the game in terms of what's going on in the Congo. We told you the Congo is one of the 13 countries that lie on the equator. All right, we told you about your central power source that you call the sun, how it spits out these crystals. How do we know the sun spits out crystals? Because one, we know that the fundamental part of nature is that it only bonds as crystals. And how can we get a better glimpse of this understanding? If you were to go online right now and order solar panels, you will have two options. They're going to be called monocrystalline. Mono means one big crystal, or they're going to be called polycrystalline solar panels, or it's going to be many crystals. You using crystals to absorb crystals. The Blanco already let you know this. He already let you know this, but we're finna relieve all shadow and all doubt about this stuff as we go into the science. The science that they give us in 4th and 5th grade, knowing damn well that we're not gonna grasp it. And by the time we're in our teenage years and adulthood, we don't know nothing about it and we can care less, right? But we're finna go into this. We're about to gain clarity on all of this stuff, right? Because this is one of the things or reasons as to why they're in the Congo, right? Because it is cobalt. But if you hear people talk in our community, it's all about, oh, the cobalt goes in phones and all of that. That's not just it. All right. So it says that some cobalt, we see cobalt is used in jewelry and paints, used to tint glass blue, obviously, right? It says that is used in lithium ion batteries and in the manufacture of magnetic, wear resistant, and high strength alloys. Alloys are just two different metals that are put together. Okay. The compounds talks about cobalt silicate and cobalt aluminate. You know what I'm saying? That's cobalt and aluminum, obviously. Give a distinctive blue, deep blue color to glass, ceramics, inks, paints, and varnishes. Cobalt occurs naturally as only one stable isotope, cobalt 59. Cobalt 60 is a commercially important radioisotope used as a radioactive tracer, blah, blah. It goes on and on. But then it goes down here, it says that cobalt is the active center of a group of coenzymes and cobalamin, vitamin B12. The best known example of the type is an essential vitamin for all animals. That includes humans because, the Blanco associates us with animals. You got to understand the Blanco's thinking. Cobalt in inorganic form is also a micronutrient for bacteria, algae, and fungi. Okay, we about to go off into something else right quick too. So you're going to see this iron, right? Hold on, I'm finna go to iron. All right, iron is iron can be ferrite. All right. And we're going to show you that these people who know about you, who want your blood and stuff, know about these crystals. I'm finna run through this stuff, but watch how it makes sense. Just give me a couple minutes to go through these articles, okay? The importance of iron in your body. This is the American Red Cross. They said that just as iron is essential in the production of steel, it is essential to human life. About 70% of the iron in your body can be found in a protein in red blood cells called hemoglobin. All right. And then your body stores this iron as ferritin. This is important. We're going to run through these things, but remember this. This is important. Okay. So he's calling it a protein. He's calling it ferritin. Now we're going to jump to this other article, right? Encyclopedia Britannica, ferrite. Ferrite is a polycrystalline. It's a crystal, right? It's a crystal that is magnetic once it is hit by an electrical field. That's what ferrite means. Okay, so you got this iron or this crystal that's in your blood. Once it's hit by electrical energy, it becomes magnetic. Okay, so why did I say all of this? Say, hey, Heru, make this make sense, because you just said a whole bunch of shit. Let me make this make sense for y'all. How I'm gonna make this make sense? Okay, we about to go right here. We about to go right here for you. Periodic table elements. This is, see, in black and white, the periodic table of elements really tells you nothing. Simply by even coloring this table lets you know everything. You hear me, brothers and sisters? It lets you know everything. Get you a periodic table of elements that lets you know what these elements are. Okay, so why did I say all those things about iron? And I was talking about cobalt, right? And all these different things. Okay, you have cobalt right here. Cobalt and iron is in here. Iron and cobalt are metals. Okay, you look over here. Down here, this light purple is called an alkali metal. So your magnesium, your calcium, these are metals, brothers and sisters. You have sodium over here. Sodium is considered an alkali metal. Calcium is considered an earth metal. Magnesium is considered an earth metal. Iron is considered a metal. Cobalt is considered a metal. Copper is considered a metal. This whole 3/4 of this entire periodic table of elements is metal. Now, I'm finna talk to you right quick just so that you understand how important this is. The reason why I brought all that up was that you got to understand that the vast majority of your makeup is metal, a metallic crystalline being. Calcium is a metal, brothers and sisters. Iron is a metal. But when you look at a nutritional label, what do they call iron? Oh, it's a nutrient. Oh, it's a protein. You see how he confuses you to not being able to understand this stuff? You see what I'm saying? Sodium that your body needs. That's a metal. That is a metal. Calcium, sodium, magnesium, manganese. These are all metals, brothers and sisters. So when we looking at the body and you talking about flesh and blood, that's religious talk. You see how powerful religion is now? Oh, it's flesh, we flesh and blood. No, you're not. According to the periodic table of elements that we just showed you, let's bring this back up because you have to understand this is why they make us ignorant of science. Okay, let me share my screen. According to this periodic table of elements we just showed you, it's got to, my goodness. Where'd it go? Okay, yeah, here we go. You see, you're mostly metal. You're a metallic organism. Organism. Okay, and you see carbon up here. Carbon is considered a non-metal. They don't know what it is. So is oxygen, but they tell you oxygen is a gas when they're talking to the layman. But here on the periodic table of elements, it's considered a non-metal. And you know that it's a crystal because when oxygen bonds with silica, right in our group, it makes something called silicon dioxide, or it makes quartz or sand as you know it. But you won't see those crystals if silica doesn't bond with this oxygen. When carbon bonds with iron over here, it makes steel. When this Fe right here bonds with carbon, they make steel, a stronger metal. This is what's so important about these things, brothers and sisters. Why I'm telling you that alchemy is the start. It's not the end all be all, but it's the start of understanding exactly how important it is to know what you are made of, what you are, not who you are. That Christian, Muslim, all that stuff's going to disappear when you understand exactly what you are, a crystallogen made of crystals. The most fundamental aspect of a human being is being a crystal. Okay, because the very engine that drives a human being, 60-70% of it has to be water. And we already seen and we already know from what we've been able to experience that water at its root, at its base, is a crystal. Okay, you only can see it though when it freezes. All right. And the crystal is so powerful. You know, when you put regular water in a glass bottle, you put that in the freezer. If you leave it in there too long, guess what's going to happen? It's going to crystallize and it's going to bust that glass. Those crystals are so powerful, they expand. Water is, and then the Blanco acts like he don't know what he's looking at. Well, we don't know why water is the only solution. When it freezes, it expands. This is one of the reasons why if you live up north, you have bad roads, right? Because when water gets into the roads, when it freezes, it expands and it breaks and it cracks the road and makes potholes. And then as it gets warm, the water goes right back to its liquid form. And then the roads is all messed up. And then you're like, in Michigan, people are like, man, why they can't fix the roads? Obviously, because they're ignorant of chemistry. They don't understand the fundamentals of the crystals they see themselves around all the time. The Blanco can't build nothing and stop Mother Nature. The Blanco can't build anything and stop Mother Nature. So that's one thing that you have to understand is extremely important. Okay? This is extremely important. So what I wanted to do too as well, let me show you something. Video file. Let's see. I don't know if this is even going to show. I don't know how to show this one. Hey, sister, you got a picture of an Olmec head you can show, or you dig up an Olmec head right quick?
Dang, I jumped on my phone, brother, because I thought my computer was acting up. I can't really share from my phone.
Okay. Oh, so I'm saying, so you can't share here. You can't share your screen.
I
I'm
can
talking
share
about.
your screen, like, because you put some up there, I could add to the screen, but I can't add nothing to my screen because I'm on the phone.
Okay. No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. Okay. All right. So basically, what I wanted to do when I wanted to show that, because I don't have the matter of fact, let me see if yeah, matter of fact, I can. Yeah, I can. Let me just say this right quick. Let me do this right quick. Yeah, that's the most important one. Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do is, see, close this tab, close this tab. I want to talk to you guys when I hold on 1 second. All right. Okay. So I want to talk to you guys as I share this screen. All right. So as you can see, look at this Olmec head, right? Beautiful, right? This is our people. Okay. You got to understand that this head was made out of basalt. Basalt is volcanic rock. It's magnetic. Basalt is volcanic rock. It's magnetic. Look at the size of this human being. Look at the size of this Olmec head. Not only was it carved out of volcanic magnetic rock, look at the detail in the artwork. Look at this is before European machinery. This is before European tools. So what European science is saying, I can't explain it. European religion has stated that you should see these individuals as people who participated and who had themselves immersed in a cesspool of dark magic and shamanism. How did they do it? Okay. Because European science says, I don't know how they did it. Our machines wasn't around, so how did they move these things and what tools did they use in order to carve it, right? And then his religion says this is dark magic, this is black magic, this is shamanism. They had, babies that they made look like jaguars, and the shaman said that they could turn the jaguars and shapeshift and all of this different stuff. And in your conditioned mind, in your brainwashed mind, the black man and black woman say the European must be right. But the European, if he's right through his religion and his science, he's left nothing. But yet, our ancestors and all of that dark magic that they told you about, and all of that wasteland and primitive thoughts and ideas that they said that our people had, they left you this. They left this evidence. They left you this. And see, how did they do it? We already foreshadowed how they did it in a couple of the articles that I just showed you. Okay, because we showed you in detail to you that that the body is magnetic. Okay, the body has iron in it. When you have an electrical field, to create an electrical field around your body, you magnetize the iron. So what's magnetism? Magnetism, what it does, is a force that when it's imposed upon electricity or electrons, it gets them to straighten up and focus. It gets them to straighten up and focus. And when it does that, it increases its ability to attract things to it. That's what a magnet does. Okay? So if you notice, when you become a magnet, you then can use your body as a weapon or as a creator to sculpt and to move things, to move earth, to sculpt
That's
things.
right.
You see what that's how they did it, because European science wants you to believe that you had to have tools to do this. So automatically the black mind says the body couldn't have done it, because that was the ancient ancestors said that's the only thing left. If ain't no tools around, what else left did you think I did it with? It had to be the human body. But since you don't understand that the human body is this organic metallic machine that is magnetic, then all this can go over your head. All this can go over your head. Okay.
Absolutely. Not understanding that they are. I tell them that it's the ether itself, right? If you're a part of this ether, why wouldn't you have the control? People are so disassociated and disconnected that they're not able to tune in to know that they are part of the same environment and everything that is natural in nature. Everything that has a kinetic connection, you're a part of that, like literally. Everything you attract and your magnetism, whatever you're doing or putting out, you're attracting those things. Whatever those things are attracted to you because of the magnetism, the energy, the frequency you're putting out, the vibration.
Yes, that's extremely important because said the magnetic mind can shape reality. All is mind, right mindset. Yes, it is. And
That's
you have to
right.
understand that everything around you is crystals because remember, everything there's always water in the air. It's called humidity. The Blanco told you it's humidity. So he keeps naming it and then you keep confusing it and you don't understand how you're going to connect. And this water in its natural state is chaotic. It needs a magnet. It needs something to direct it. You see what I'm saying? Because water, if you notice, remember we talked about this. I explained this to a degree on a previous segment here on Sistar's channel. I've also talked about this in a segment on my channel, where you notice that we said the pyramids, our ancient ancestors also left another clue as to how they knew about this ancient science that we call alchemy, that they turned into what's called organic chemistry.
That's
And they
right.
showed you the pyramid was in its shape, in its shape, and that was water shape. Oh yeah, divinely purpose talking about magneto. Oh yeah, see this is yeah. So you already know where we're going with this. And so when water bonds, water is H2O, okay? H2O, two hydrogen atoms, one oxygen atom. Okay,
Yes.
so how this goes is that when oxygen bonds with hydrogen, hydrogen is predominantly positive because of its protons, okay? It bonds with oxygen because of its electron, because it has one electron. All right, so it gives oxygen this electron. And then the other hydrogen gives oxygen its electron. But hydrogen is on its side. Both hydrogen have a positive charge. So remember, in science, they say things that are alike repel each other. They repel each other. And so oxygen has two extra electrons on its side. They're negative. So they repel each other. And this repulsion causes the molecule to bend and take the shape of a pyramid. This is what's so deep. And the study is called geometry. Geo means earth, metric means math, earth math. When the earth repels and attracts, it makes shapes, and we name these shapes cubes, triangles, etc. This is deep shit.
Deep, deep, deep.
Okay, so your ancients had already let you know that everything is crystals. So you have exactly static shock. We see all these things, right? So we have these crystals around us, right? And oxygen is a crystal. Oxygen, its symbolic name literally means sharp. Okay, you'll notice that. Let's take a look back here. Let's take a look back here to show you how they've been duping us, y'all. Copper colored races, right? When we say copper and all of this, we never really realized we was talking about the metallic beings. Metallic beings, because none of us really had an understanding of chemistry. We didn't understand how deep this stuff went. Why you got Blanco so afraid of you? Okay, why you got Blanco so afraid of you? So let's go back to presenting this periodic table of elements so we can get familiar real quick with exactly what I'm trying to detail to you. All right, so listen here. So basically, oxygen is not even considered a gas, really. In this periodic table of elements, it's considered a non-metal. Okay, so over here you have the halogen group, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, okay, all that different stuff. And right here you have something called the noble gases, helium, neon, argon, krypton. Okay, krypton is a real thing. When a lot of our occult scientists talk about 666, they talk about, oh, it's carbon, it's carbon. No, it's not. It's krypton. They even made a movie about this character called Superman. He comes from Krypton. Krypton is in this periodic table of elements, and Krypton's number is 36, brothers and sisters.
Let's talk about it.
This deep shit. They put it right in the movies and right in your face. Krypton is 36 or 3 6s. This is the crystal that they identify with. That's why you see Superman is always surrounded by crystals when he go in his spaceship and all of this different shit. Because Black Ops has been letting you know they're of a different crystal makeup. This is why crystallography, the science of crystals, is so deep.
Period. Man, bro,
Okay?
it gets so it's so amazing where sometimes people might not think or believe that it's possible. It's like it sounds pseudo, as some people might think, because it's like, man, this just sounds too amazing. But that's you. That's you. That's you.
Because let's remind them. Let's go back. Let's remind them. Let's remind them that right here, Encyclopedia Britannica, we finna relieve all doubt. Types of
Period.
bonds, crystal bonding, different types of bonding in crystals. Right here, you have shared electrons. This is called covalent bonding. Then you have metallic bonding. Then you have ionic bonding. Remember in chemistry when they told you about covalent
Period.
bonding, ionic bonding? They didn't say that these was crystals bonding, but right here in the Encyclopedia Britannica, they let you know. Oh, yeah, we forgot to tell you, these is how crystals bond. This is the different type of ways crystals bond.
That's right.
I am killing these niggas.
That's right, bro.
Okay?
Slay 'em,
All
bro.
right?
Slay 'em.
We
Slay
killing
'em.
these niggas
Pew,
because
pew.
these guys like you know that this all of these bondings, no matter whether or not it's covalent bonding, ionic
Mm-hmm.
bonding, metallic bonding, it's just crystals bonding. It's just crystal. But see, they didn't want to teach us like that.
That's right.
They didn't want to teach us like that because they knew that we would have been in the damn Albert 413 is almost possible that our ancestors knew how to use their voices to match the exact
Yep.
frequency of the matter they want. Oh yes!
Yes.
Oh yes! You see what I'm saying? And see, this is why I say all the time is like, this is why it's so important to understand that you are, you know, we have to hide what you're made of.
That's right.
What you are is most important. Remember when I showed you the book by Rebecca Skloot? Rebecca Skloot in this
Yeah.
book, Rebecca
Yep.
Skloot, the Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. She talked about, I
That's
showed
right.
you, she said that it was a unique crystal because mind you, I already showed you that glucose is a crystal. She said that it was a unique crystal to black people called glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase.
Mm-hmm.
All right, glucose is a crystal. Matter of fact, let's stop playing with people. Let's go and let's keep killing these niggas.
That's right.
Let's show you what we talking about, just so that you ain't got no doubt as to everything is crystals up in here, right?
Period. Understanding that, man, this y'all got to make sure too, you guys, just to say this, go back and look at this video I did about a year and a half ago on You Are the Superheroes. Y'all got to see that and really get an understanding of everything the brother talking about, even when it comes to the electromagnetism. Y'all know this, man. Y'all know. I'm just trying to keep quiet because y'all know this topic right here, my stuff. This my stuff, but the brother be
Right.
so fire and with it. I'm like, yes, I'm taking notes too, bro. Even though
Right.
I know it, I'm learning it scientifically. I'm
You
right with
see?
you.
Because that's what we need. That's what we
That's
need. So
right.
let's share this screen. Look, I showed this a million times. Just got to guess in your head. Lactose crystal. This is Encyclopedia Britannica, brothers and sisters. Okay, carbohydrate containing one molecule of glucose and one of galactose linked together,
Yep.
composing about 2 to 8% of the milk of all mammals.
Mm.
This crystal right here. It's the only common sugar of animal origin. So this is what's so deep. The Blanco know that this is the only crystal that mammals have in common with one another.
Yep.
Every other crystal is off. And even this crystal obviously is not exact. But he knows that
See it fall, bro? Oh, you dropped it.
move obviously with the mind overstanding levels to the game dimensions. Oh yeah, of course, because there's people getting there. This is your
Mm-hmm.
great reveal. X-Men shit's about to go kick off high in this motherfucker. And this is one of the reasons why, like I said, they're guarding against you understanding this energy because it won't take long. We're gonna talk about how you can go about doing this and accomplishing this. Because so many times we hear people build on these things, but it's no real practical way. Remember, we told you crystals manufacture bend light. The way that a crystal is three-dimensionally structured in space, this is called isomerism in chemistry. The way a crystal is structured or arranged in space will determine how it locks to another crystal.
That's right.
This is called bonding. Okay, so essentially what happens is the way it bonds will be determined how it transmit lights and what messages is received.
That's right. Oh my
Okay,
gosh, bro.
so this is what's so cold. So now you got
Yes.
these called crystal codes. All right.
Oh,
Now,
bro. Can I?
go ahead.
Oh my gosh, yes. I consistently keep telling them about this with their binary frequency. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to the binary frequency. You guys open up. You can unlock that. Did you hear what he just explained? He was showing the different elements when they're binding together and creating the crystalline effect. This is the Christos, the Christos. This is the energy that is inside of you. That plasma, when it heat up and it gets to a certain oscillation, it's feeding through that blood. This is what operates and makes those crystals form. form. You have crystals in your lung, you have crystals in your brain. These things are popping off like boom, almost like firecrackers, because that heat is
Exactly.
creating the crystals. How many times?
Exactly.
Press one if y'all know I've been telling y'all this shit for a minute, and the brother breaking it down for me right quick. And I ain't never even talked to him, bro. Tell the truth. Have I ever spoke?
No,
Wait, I might
but
have
it
spoke.
ain't got to. We were connected
It,
spiritually.
it's just there,
So
bro. You so
that's
fucking fire, bro. I'm sorry,
not,
y'all. Excuse my
oh
language.
yeah, it's all good.
Brother's so fire. Come on, bro. Come on,
Yeah,
bro.
because we listen, you about to go into 2024 knowing exactly what's going on. All will be revealed. See, I studied alchemy, and when
That's
I
right.
studied alchemy, like I said on my series, I told y'all how the alchemist who taught me was like, "Hey, Ru, when you find out, don't tell nobody else." Because it's that whole, throwing pearls to swine, they won't understand it. But I
That's
tell you,
right.
it's the age of the great reveal. You're here now because you're doing the work. If the comment section ain't full of 200-300 people, they missing out on some of the grandest. This is the great reveal. All
That's
that other
right.
surface level shit, people talking about biology, DNA. This is a science that built biology, chemistry, DNA, crystals. I just showed you that they put a whole year surrounding the fact that
Mm-hmm.
we finally found this shit out. We know what makes this shit tick, right? And so they go on this quest for crystals. How do we know this? Okay, I'm finna show you. Remember, I told you about the cobalt. Remember, we told you about how
Yes.
on the surface that we showed you how even with cobalt, it has magnetic properties. It becomes ferrite or ferromagnetic. Ferromagnetic. Ferromagnetic just means that it can become a permanent magnet once an electrical field or your aura is around it, or its aura is around it. Okay, this is extremely important. So what you have is, let me see. Why I can
Period. Y'all already know. Come on, y'all.
let's see.
Come on, y'all know it's got to be high. We can't even pay attention to it. If it can't excite you and get your information going within you, because that's the light. The light actually generates that information, truth, and true information actually is light. That's light coding that helps with that binary frequency coding. All of that is within you. And you gonna know it. You feel it. You know it. You be like, man, I felt that in my bones. Like, oh, I can feel that in my heart. Come on, y'all know. Y'all connected. That's why.
Now let's share. Let's share. Okay. Kundalini citrine. Kundalini
Mm.
citrine is a crystal that's found in the Congo. Okay, Kundalini citrine is a natural smoky citrine from the Republic of the Congo. It is also known as Luena citrine because it is found near the town of Luena and Hatlumami in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Both individual crystals and cascading crystals clusters are common in this region. Why? Because we know it sits at the equator where the sun is spitting all of its crystals out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Okay. Hold on. Then they talk about the healing energies and stuff like that. Okay. All right. In Hinduism, Kundalini is a form of divine feminine energy. Okay. So, like we talk about, this is an aspect of you. We can't get mad. We got to start balancing this stuff out.
Ooh, talk
Bro,
about the
when the
divine
body
feminine.
needs to grow, listen, let's rock with this concept. When the body needs to grow, it uses a sexual crystal or sexual energy called testosterone or what you call
Mm-hmm.
androgens. Females and males use them. From 2 to 5 years old, the baby is secreting these androgens to grow the brain, to grow the body, etc. This is important for its natural development, both girls and boys, right? So even in puberty, once again, the girls and the boys secrete androgens, the male hormone, testosterone. All right. But as you can see, if we could give credit to the male testosterone being fundamental in the growth of the male and the female, we have to give credit for the female hormone being essential for our spiritual growth, our kundalini.
Yes, being
See,
the
your,
female.
your
And they
physical
always
growth.
pushing that
Come
woman,
on.
bro, woman, real quick on
Go
that
ahead.
the female. They gotta understand that female, that's the infinite fire, the true blue flame is what I call it, literally. Like seriously, because the woman's womb, it has to have that fire to be able to bring life into this world. That's like real talk. I'm sorry, brother. I just want to say that.
Oh no,
They always call us women,
we finna
women,
show you how
female,
this fire. We finna show you
feminine.
how this, yeah. Oh, we finna show you how this fire happens and how they
Let's
hit it all
go.
in plain sight.
Let's go,
You know
bro.
what I'm saying? Okay. So we're saying that they say that this Kundalini citrine is a premier zone of manifestation, imagination, and personal will, carrying the power of the sun. But I told you this because it sits at the equator. So why wouldn't it not carry the power of the sun? All right. Clearing the mind and steering the soul to action. Its frequency awakens creativity and imagination and sustains the process of transforming dreams and wishes into tangible forms. But we told you this: when your crystals are right and the light is right, you become magnetic, and everything you think about can become a reality. See, this is why I say it's so important to understand that there's practical applications in terms of this energy, not just wishful thinking. So many people say, oh, your body can become full of light. Well, we know that when you don't understand about crystals, you put the right crystals in your body, you can get the right light in your body. Then they say, oh, you could attract anything that you think about. Well, we know this is when you turn your metals in your body to magnetic properties or create a permanent magnet, then you can start attracting. And when you couple all that energy, everything you think about can now become a reality. Can now become a reality. All right. And so what are we saying? We're saying this as well. We're saying that when you go back and you take a look, let's go back here, because we always got to remind you of this periodic table of elements. Okay. We got to remind you. Let's go. Where is it at? Where did you go? You ran, but I'm gonna find you. Hold on. Where did she go? All right, yeah. So you see oxygen right here, you guys? Oxygen means something sharp. You have to understand, if you look at these noble gases right here, helium, neon, argon, the reason why they call them noble is because they don't interact with oxygen. Helium, neon, and argon are all what's called non-flammable. Non-flammable. Why is this important? Because I'm going to show you how the Blanco accompany his ritual shit with spell work.
Eternal flame.
Okay, so he say, notice, he say, when the body oxidizes, it encourages inflammation, inflamed. He knows that when oxygen hits any of these other crystals, it lights them on fire. You cannot have a fire without oxygen. Oxygen is a crystal as well, because we know this, because when oxygen bonds with silica, it makes quartz. When oxygen can be stabilized, you can literally see it's a crystal. You can see its crystal self. It'll form a quartz. Just like water, when it freezes, you can see the crystal for water. You can only see crystals at different temperatures. But everything is a crystal. So when you increase the temperature or decrease the temperature, you will see something go back to its natural state, which is a crystal. When sugar and salt is at room temperature, that's the temperature it's comfortable at with being a crystal. When you increase the temperature, it goes to liquid form. When you can chemically alter a crystal. When you put these sugar crystals in water, you now have crystal water. You don't see the crystal no more. It now has become a part of the water. But that
it dissolved.
Exactly. And it actually chemically became a part of the water. That's the beauty of water. Water becomes anything that it bonds with. That's why Bruce Lee said, become water, my friend. Water becomes a container it's in. Water chemically becomes exactly what it bonds with.
That's right.
Okay?
Be
So
like water.
be like water, my friend. You know what I'm saying? So this is very important stuff, right? So one of the things that we got to understand, is that when we're looking at water, and we're looking at these crystals, we understand that, okay, so how do we go about doing this? We go about doing it by first making sure that, remember, he told you everything in your existence in this realm is crystals. You're only going to see the crystals when they turn to crystals according to the temperature they like to be crystals at. Okay? That's it. So we know that solids.
Oh, wait, ooh, bro, real quick on this comment before you get into the solids.
Go ahead. No doubt.
I don't want to interrupt your thought, but since that you can speak into these crystals, yes, you can actually speak healing into water. I've talked to you guys about this before. Getting like mason jars, make sure you're using a jar, not a jug, a plastic. You can literally speak into the water and speak healing into your water and drink that to heal your body, your voice, literally the vibration and the frequency of what you're putting out. When you're pulling that from the pit of your stomach, you're literally putting out the molecules to those building blocks, the same building blocks. Man, it gets so deep. But just what that part, I just want to say that, bro.
Oh no, that's that's the deepest stuff. Because look, let's go back one more time. We got to continue to keep, because I want you guys to understand that one, that their energy was adulterated. Remember, their sexual crystals are adulterated. I'm gonna show you one just to show you an example of this right quick. Just to show you an example of this. And you guys seen me show this video. I mean, you guys seen me show this photo before. Okay. But it's the importance is to show you what their energy was all about. All right. Hold on one second. Okay, here we go. See, remember, this is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Yeah, so what does guy do with Franklin Delano Roosevelt? This is 1884 social convention. All right, his father's in this photo, but they cropped this out. This is your president. All right, he's dressed in a dress and the shoes and the shirt. They dressed little boys in girl clothing all up until they were 6 or 7 years old. This is in 1884. And in this article, this woman says that they've been doing this for centuries. So what's my point? My point is understanding that they have an adulterated form of the feminine energy. They've always been like that. They can't bring you order when by nature they're already in disorder. Okay? That's the whole point of all of this. And they're women, they stay close. Remember, they raise your children. They become the nurturers. They become the face of sexual energy. They become the goddess of fertility, all that different stuff. When spring rolls around, you're going to see them throw out images of the white woman body in terms of her being the face of sexual energy and fertility. Okay, she's also the nurturer. She stays close to the beings, the men who secrete a very powerful form of plasma called seminoplasma. Okay, called seminoplasma. 85% of what you secrete as a man when you ejaculate is plasma. This is one of the reasons why the man has a lot of downtime when he comes. And the woman doesn't, because the woman is not secreting her plasma. This is very important for you to understand. So when, people make fun of men for one and done situation, they secreted a lot of plasma. If you've ever donated blood before, if you're low on plasma, what happens? You out of energy. And if you low on plasma before you give blood, what are them blancos going to tell you? I need you to drink water so you can up your plasma levels. They want that plasma. They want that liquid gold. Okay? This is what they understand, which is also another form of crystals, because remember, plasma is the fourth state of matter, the fourth state that they conveniently enough don't want to teach you about in school. Okay, but remind you, all states of matter are studied using a science called X-ray crystallography, which is the study of how crystals form. So everything in matter, solid, liquid, gas, plasma, are all crystals according to Blanco science. So this is why we have to understand that putting the right crystals in our body, from the water to the sugar and salt, these crystals form the mega crystals, right? They form even stronger crystals. And then them crystals give powerful messages that the Blanco called hormones and shit, right? And these hormones in turn determine how the body will grow, determines how the body will develop, and also determines whether the body will not only live or die, but open up its opportunity to live its life at the highest level of illumination. So in order to operate your Kundalini energy, you got to make sure that your water crystals are right. The crystal as water in and of itself has to be right. Get you a filtration system. Okay. And then the crystals that you put in your body, I mix cocoa, and I also have, other different type of crystals, cinnamon, Ceylon. I told you the real cinnamon is called Ceylon. That other cinnamon is poison, but it's the one that's mostly sold in the United States. All right. Cinnamon, the real cinnamon, has the right crystals. 85% of cinnamon is sugar. It's carbohydrates. But yet the Blanco will tell you, oh, if you got the right cinnamon, cinnamon lowers blood sugar. How can cinnamon lower blood sugar when 85% of cinnamon is sugar? But the thing is that he knows that you're getting the right crystals. So when your body gets the right crystals, it doesn't desire any other crystals. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you an example of how devastating the Blanco's artificial crystals are to the natural crystal matrix, to you crystallologians. Me and my sister was having a discussion, right? And I mentioned this, in the segment. Me and my sister was having a discussion. We were talking about how she was watching a video that basically had information that was related to what I'm bringing to you guys right now, right? And the white guy in the video had stated, he said, isn't it something how you can dig up a body and you'll have the bones and the teeth intact? You guys understand this, right? You've seen this, right? You dig up the body, the bones and the teeth are intact. This from thousands of years ago, right? But yet you can be alive and your teeth could be falling out your mouth messing with this Blanco diet. This man, crystals, is so toxic that the teeth literally fall out your mouth when you eat his crystals. Yet when you dig a body up, the teeth are in the skull's mouth. Why is this the case? Remember, we told you that the earth, this whole environment is about bonding. Calcium is a metal. It's a crystal. So when it's in the ground, it's bonding with other crystals, or it's becoming crystallized or fossilized. Because here again is another term the Blanco uses to throw you off the trail. Okay? So you're getting the right crystals, and all of a sudden those bones are strong. All right? But when you get the wrong crystals, like the wrong lactose, remember, lactose is a sugar. Lactose is a sugar, which is a crystal. We just showed you is a crystal. So when you build your body off the wrong crystal, what do you what's happened? It's numerous articles out there that let you know that most people have declared, most scientists have stated that lactose or drinking milk is the leading cause of osteoporosis or porous bones or poor crystal makeup. You see what I'm saying? Because you're trying to build your bones off the wrong crystals. And then think about how deep this is. We let you know that sugar is a crystal. Your bones are crystals. So you got the blood, and then it's carrying a crystal called iron. So you got crystals traveling within crystals, distributing crystal power. This is deep shit. This is deep shit. So what you have to...
Yes, brother. Yes,
Man,
it is.
come on
Let's
now.
go. Let's go. Let's go.
Come on now. This is deep shit. This is deep shit. So, once again, when we
No, she
tell
was
you
gonna be
how...
ready to go. She was watching them. How I'm gonna do this. I'm coming.
Well, what'd you say?
Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I thought I was mute. I'm talking to my daughter about my grandbaby. She's starting to
No
crawl already. I'm like, Lord of mercy. Okay, go ahead, bro.
no doubt. So basically what we're saying is that get your crystals right. Understand that it's about crystal building. These sugars are the ultimate hormones, right? It's the essence of life. So when your water's off, remember, water makes these bonds. You've seen yourself put sugar or crystals in your water. It bonds. It's electricity in water. If you threw a toaster or some electrical in some water and somebody's in the bathtub, you'll kill them because water carries electricity. It carries current. Okay? Now, so the point being is that what you have to understand is that if your water is off, it's not going to make the right bonds. They make sure they put those heavy crystals in there. So they got all this sodium and chlorine or chloride and fluorine, all of these, because fluorine is the most reactive chemical in the periodic table of elements. That's why it's in everything. So that crystal, but remember, all these crystals are different aspects of carbon. This is where your religion comes from. Oxygen is the fire of carbon. Like, you got people who are, they say, man, you fired up all the time. He's more of an oxygen or a fire, just like Leos are. We're more of a fire crystal. Because remember, I told you, oxygen makes things combustible. When you see a bomb explode, it's interacting with oxygen. When a bomb explodes, that's fire. The fire can't grow without the oxygen. It's not so much as the bomb being powerful, it's the bomb when it interacts with the crystals in the air. When that fire, when that crystal begins to operate with the crystals in the air called oxygen, it begins to cascade. The only way to kill a fire is to smother the oxygen or the oxygen crystal. This is one of the reasons why when you breathe in oxygen, this is one of the reasons why you breathe oxygen, because that crystal, when it hits your iron, it makes it into a magnet. It magnetizes it. And the magnetization of iron creates your aura. This is why you have an electrical field around you. And this electrical field is supposed to make you magnetize. And this magnetization of the human body is supposed to turn you into a crystal that can allow you to move objects and move through the crystal realm. This is where your teleportation comes from.
Right.
This is where telekinesis and all this stuff comes from. This is a reality, brothers and sisters. This is not a myth. And how do we know this? Because our ancestors had left us. Let's go back again. Let's go back again. Let's go back again. Let's share our screen. If we got to continue to keep looking at the visual evidence. Our ancestors that left us this evidence that they carved this and they moved this with human technology. With human technology. And because this Blanco standing right here is not made up of these crystals, he couldn't fathom how this was made. He couldn't fathom how they moved this out of volcanic. Where the fuck they and mind you, this is a mountainous region where the Olmecs are from. They over in the mountains, taking this volcanic magnetic rock, creating huge sculptures, moving them, and then leaving them for you to say, look at what we can do. You sitting up here talking about in the conscious community, niggas saying pseudo shit and do all this. Unless you want to get to the next level is paranormal. The next level can't be explained. And it definitely can't be explained by European science. It definitely can't be explained by European religion. The ancient ancestors have left their evidence and told you, look at what I have done. The people who told you that what I believe in is black magic. The people that have told you what I believe in is fraudulent, it's pseudo. But I left you evidence. You can't deny the evidence. So this is why all of this is critically important. When you go into this new, as we obviously continue on into the age of the great reveal, into the apocalypse, right? Which is the age of the great reveal. You know, we're talking about being crystallogens, understanding that everything around you is in crystal formation. It just requires a certain temperature. So we are Superman and women, but the Blancos only super with the technology like Iron Man. Heru, Haines, all religions are false. Yeah, yeah, all religions are false. True religion series. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I love that series that I did too as well. Yeah, and truth is stranger than fiction. Yeah, we got to understand that when we talking about, you know, plasma and all of these different things, they want to hide it. Even Albert, he mentioned, he had a comment in the last segment where, you know, on, you know, my channel where we was talking about how this Blanco tried to tell him about plasma. They just use that because it talks about forming. No, when you look up plasma, the definition of plasma, blood plasma, it says it's an electrical fluid, an ionized fluid. That's what it says it is. And that's what it says lightning is. That's what it says your sun is. That's what it says. They didn't name it plasma because it sounds like something else. They named it plasma because it's plasma, bitch. But you know, the Blanco could be born with a silver spoon but still be forked tongue. Okay, that's one thing you gotta understand about the Blanco. Love lying. Only time he not lying is when he's sleeping and he eating. That's the only time they not lying, because they have to, you know, capitalize. I mean, the only way they're gonna capitalize off this information is by doing it. So you gotta understand that, like we talk about, being symbol literate is key, because now that you got an understanding that crystals is the physical body of the sexual energy. That crystal is a physical body of sexual energy. This is why the Blanco, when they marry, when that Blanco woman is married, she wants that Blanco man to put that sexual energy on her ring finger. If you know anything about 2D, 4D in biology, supposedly your ring finger is grown by sexual energy. So when a man ring finger is a lot longer than his index finger, it says that symbolically he is more fertile, right? And all of this different stuff. Some Blancos argue that this 2D, 4D is bad science or pseudoscience now, but they wrote thousands of papers on it and they was lauding it back in the day. All right. You've even heard people who try to out people who are transgender. They tell you to look at their hands. They'll say that their ring finger is bigger than their index finger. That's called 2D, 4D. Okay, but the Blanco wants him to put that carbon or that sexual energy on her finger to commemorate this relationship that she came in here to take over Mother Nature's divine feminine energy that you know as the Kundalini energy. Okay, and appeals to snack on avocados daily, like chip dip, mixing spices and herbs. The fiber and food neutralizes the body sugar intake. Avocado is very high in fiber and healthy fats. You remember, fiber, like they told you, remember what they said that fiber is. When you look at a plant, the stalk of a plant is called cellulose, right? They call that fiber. Remember what I'm saying? Cellulose. Cellulose is nothing but glucose molecules, sugar attached to sugar. That's what fiber is. But the Blanco, once again, like I'm telling you, his spell work is ridiculous. How you gonna break up sugar with sugar? Think about this shit.
Make it make sense.
Fiber is cellulose. Cellulose is glucose, sugar molecules together. He's telling you when you got the right crystals, it can take away the bad crystals. This is all he's telling you. That's why this shit is deep. But you let him name everything. Remember I told y'all to check out that series that your boy was in, who been now running by them bad crew. Ain't it something? Ain't it ironic that what's his name? That he going down, that white woman accused him of rape or sexual assault. Jonathan Majors, right?
Oh, okay.
He played in a series called Lovecraft Country, where he was sacrificed by a Blanco woman. She was a witch trying to get black people blood and stuff. And then she was killed by a sister. And the sister told her that, she said that I'm going to kill all y'all trying to practice black magic. She said that you won't be allowed to practice black magic no more. She said all white people. It was Lovecraft Country. And they only did one season of it. And ironically enough, he was sacrificed by another Blanco woman, because they letting you know. You see the power of the Blanco woman. I told you that she's in the forefront of this. Rosalind Franklin, Margaret Sanger, okay, Helena Blavatsky, Maria Orsic. They all controlling this Blanco man. You think this Blanco man running around with power, but the only one who has
Your
access to
sound going, bro.
feminine energy is the white woman. So you look, next
Hey,
time you
Rule,
see
your sound going down or out or something.
it's going down and out, I might be because I'm going crazy in this mug. I get to snapping. I'm Can you hear me?
Okay, that's a little better.
Maybe because is my volume
It's
up? Can you hear me now?
still low. I don't know why. It just start. Is it me? Let me see.
Yeah,
Is it
because
okay? Press one in the chat if it's okay, guys, for you, because
I
it
haven't
sounds
made
real
any
low for
adjustments.
me.
I haven't made any adjustments. Do we got how's the sound? How's my sound, you guys?
Okay, it sounds better to me. Does it sound good? Is it sound okay with you guys?
It could be
Okay,
probably
they
because
say
I'm
it's
moving
okay,
in
bro.
and out of the mic though too. Yeah. But yeah. All right, so we got some ones in the chat. But yeah, like we said, what we dealing with is that the Blanco woman is behind. You starting to understand the real characters behind this game because it's divine Kundalini energy. You see what I'm saying? So now when you see these shows, you go back like the Disney made Maleficent, played by Angelina Jolie, like the architects behind their occult energy are their women because the women are more tapped into the divine feminine principle. It don't matter how you feel about it. We're not here to argue about who take care of who. You looking at it from a materialistic perspective, who pay bills and all that. We're not talking about that bullshit. That's bullshit. When you talking about occult energy, you cannot there's nothing you can do about this energy. It's just like when I tell people, I make the example of the pineal gland. You know how you hear people talk about, oh, you got to open your third eye. Well, right here,
Yeah,
this book called Melatonin, Your Body's Natural Wonder
yeah,
Drug. Get this book, okay? The main hormone secreted by the pineal gland is melatonin. Melatonin's number one responsibility is
yeah.
to balance your sleep-wake cycle. And how does it do that? By acting on your gonads, your ovaries if you're a female, your testes if you're a male. And this is when you hear women say that my biological clock is ticking. That's what the pineal gland does. And the pineal gland operates off of light and crystals, and obviously it operates off this crystal called melatonin that acts on your gonads or sexual organs. Okay, so what was my point? My point is that how can people talk about, your pineal gland being key to your spiritual ascension, but then yet dismiss sexual energy? You can't have one without the other. So if you had these gurus talking about master your sexual energy, then talk about the pineal gland. Well, the pineal gland only uses sexual energy. What the fuck are you talking about? You can't separate the two. You see how dangerous this is? But see, this is one of the reasons why a lot of these people who try to control your sexual energy become sexual deviants themselves. You ever notice that? The people who want to
Yes,
control your
yes.
sexual energy the most are the biggest sexual deviants.
Yep.
But we starting to see that. But the Blanco letting you know with all of this distraction, like TD Jakes Puffy,
Yep.
if you take those characters away, if you take those symbols away, what do you have? Sexual energy. The manipulation, the adulteration, the exploitation, the abuse of sexual energy. That's all you're dealing with. When you look at solar and geoengineering, when the Blanco says they want to block out the sun feeds the plants. The plant makes these fruits. Fruits are ovaries of a female plant.
That's right.
So when they say they're going to block out the sun, they're saying we're blocking out the sun's sexual energy. The bees carry pollen. Pollen is considered the semen of trees. So when I destroy bee pollen and bees, I destroy the ability for humans to have available to them 70 to 80% of the fruit for sexual energy that we eat. Once again, solar geoengineering is nothing but the control of sexual energy. When I say population control, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get you to stop having babies, or I put diseases out there in order to make you infertile. That's controlling sexual energy. You see what I'm saying? All of this is a control and to master the sexual energy. And when they get finished, the Blanco woman wants to stand as the one who has all the sexual energy because she's the one who is built. She's not built specifically for it, right? But she feels like she has just enough in order to get it. That's why I encourage you guys to watch Lovecraft Country, because they were showing you that. And they showed you how the Blanco woman, which is one of the main characters, They try to act like it's built around a patrilineal society, right? Because she can't get involved. She's like, oh, the men, they won't let women be involved in the occult and all of this different stuff. So she weasels her way in through Jonathan Major's character and helps him out here and there, all to try to steal him, because ultimately he has to sacrifice himself. She has to get his blood crystals in order to become immortal. Okay, and so this is what we're telling you. When these Blanco women have maintained themselves in close proximity, is because they know that the like we talked about, the richest form of this plasma or these crystals comes from the form of seminoplasma. So when we look at the Blanco woman sitting back and making herself available to black men, I told y'all. Remember, I showed y'all the picture of Maria Orsic and German nationalism. Okay, and remember 1940, this is why I spoke about this. Remember, that was the height of the German war and Hitler and the Nazis and white supremacy and all this different stuff. Okay, you can look up a concept called brown babies. Brown babies is when all these black babies were had by white women during World War II. Do you know that the biggest population of brown babies was German women? Now hold up.
Yeah.
They running around here talking about how high and mighty and the Aryan race and all this. And the largest population for brown babies, this is a fact, was German women. The women screaming, "Hail Hitler, and we the best." The biggest population during and after the war was European German women having the most black babies. That's why I told you, what they put out there is an illusion. And they abandoned a lot of those mixed babies to the state. Because a lot of those Blanco women was in the occult. They wanted the seminoplasma. Matter of fact, I've been talking about seminoplasma. Let me just do this right quick, get this out the way, because this is important. This is important. This is important. All right. Hold on. Okay, let's share the screen. Reproductive biology and endocrinology. All right, I'm just going to show y'all this. All right. This is the enigmatic seminoplasma, a proteomics insight from ejaculation to fertilization. Okay. We're going to go down to composition of seminoplasma. Seminoplasma is constituted by secretions derived from the testes. 2 to 5%. Only 2 to 5% from your testes, your sperm, is seminoplasma. Okay. Then you got some secreted from your other gland called the prostate, which most of this is fructose, a sugar. Okay. Then 65 to 75% is the seminal vesicles. It's this plasma. So you add the 75% plus the 20. 98%, 95 to 98% is a plasma mixed in with these crystals called fructose and stuff, and only 2 to 5% is these millions of sperm cells. Okay, so you got this rich plasma. Like it said, listen what they tell you, brothers and sisters. It said, you scroll down just a little bit. It said, hold on. It is rich in sugars, oligosaccharides, glycans, inorganic ions, small molecule metabolites, free DNA, RNA, microDNA, peptides, and proteins. This is what this plasma is.
Sound like crystallized memory stick to me.
Man, it's ancient energy and information. Remember, the Blanco told you DNA was information. Genetic ancient information. So when the Blanco woman is in her occult, she knows that in order to get ancient information or the Akasha records, it's written in your seminoplasma. Only 2 to 5% of you is you. The other 98% is ancient knowledge. I am killing you niggas.
Slam.
The other 98% of your seminal fluid that you give to the woman is ancient knowledge. Okay? So, this is why, like we said before, we have to be very particular. That's why I said be very particular about who you mate with. We look at, instances as to where we, talking about healing our body. We don't understand how, because once, what is plasma? They tell us, is that a question? What is plasma? Well, I don't know if that was a question, but plasma is an ionized gas, or electric gas or fluid. What'd you say,
One of the
sis?
sisters asked something earlier, brother. Hold on, let me go back to it. Um, I didn't want to stop you. Were talking about something. Hold on a second. She said, okay. She said, answer this.
Okay, so you take the plasma from the blood, freeze it, then heat it up to a certain temperature and use it for microchips. They now it's possible to use I don't know, you know, I haven't heard of them doing that, you know what I'm saying? But all I know is that I mean it's definitely a possibility because it's the same technology, right? You know, you take a look at sand. Remember, our microchips come from sand. That's why they call it Silicon Valley. Remember, the microchips
Mm-hmm.
are made from silicon dioxide or sand. Okay, this is why I told you, you gotta understand the power of your universe around you. When we go to the beach, we be twiddling our toes with the sand. The white man pick up the sand and make microchips. Okay, so this is how powerful this stuff is. So he knows that, yeah, crystallization. Our crystals are the only. I'm glad that sister said that because our crystals are the only crystals. Listen, let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back.
Yeah, that's it. That was a. I was picturing what she's saying. I'm thinking like, I wonder if you could do
Yeah,
that.
because this is what she's talking about. This is what, yeah, listen, this is what she's talking about. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna show you why it's the truth to her statement. I'm gonna show you why it's true to her statement. Okay, we're gonna go back to here. Carbon, silica, germanium, tin, lead, flavoil. Now, this is what's so deep. You guys see these colors. Okay, right here, this color blue. It'll show you down here in this graph what these colors represent. Carbon is considered a non-metal, right? But you see silica and germanium, they start to turn a little green. This green means it's a semi-metal. It starts to turn to a metal. Now you got tin, lead. Now you got
Mm-hmm.
metals. So as you go down in periodic table of elements, you got something that's not a metal, but not a gas. It's in between. They don't know what it is. And as you go down and it starts
Right.
changing up itself, it starts going to a metal. Then it turns all the way into a metal. Okay, but this is the
Mm-hmm.
only group. This is the only group in this whole table which can crystallize and bond with everything else. That's why these elements have to be somewhere around for stable bonds to occur.
To be able to attach it, bond
Right.
to it.
So
Yes.
our blood contains this carbon, the ultimate crystal, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
carbon is the only
Yep.
element that can bond with itself and make diamond. That's why carbon is called the king of all these elements. But notice, like I told you in the book, if this is the king of all the elements, why is it made small? Shouldn't it be the largest block in
Right.
this motherfucker?
But that's the key element. That's just like
That's
the
the key
small dot, like
element.
we start from, right? It's the most
Exactly.
power in that. Yeah.
Remember, because I didn't call it this. They call carbon the king of elements. When you play chess, the king is not the same size as the pawns.
Yeah.
So the Blanco, once again, understands symbolism. He's not going to make carbon this big block because then he'd be like, dang, okay, when Negroes start to find out, we already
Right.
got
Right.
carbon cults. Look about it, sis. We already got carbon cults. If the Blanco would have made carbon the biggest block in this carbon periodic elements, he would have known we would have went crazy with this carbon shit.
Exactly. They'd have been like, they look. You wouldn't have to tell them these Superman shit. They'll
You
see
would
it off the muscle.
exactly. Exactly. You wouldn't have to tell us nothing. That's why he made it the same size as everything else. Because even though he made it the same size as everything else, niggas was still running around talking about carbon cults.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So he can't give us too many clues. He can't give us too many clues. Because when we understand what we are, so once again, I'm going to show you guys. I gotta show you guys. I don't even know why I went off, but because we're gonna go back to this because we're gonna give you a clear understanding of the fundamentals and stuff, right? So when I showed you guys this in our group, this is 14 carbon 14 group, the crystallogens. You notice lead is in our family. Anything in a vertical column, these vertical columns are called families, brothers and sisters. That means that they're all chemically related to one another. It's a method to this table. You got the vertical, the horizontal rows are called periods. You got period 1, period 2, period 3, period 4, period 5, period 6, period 7. The earth was created in 7 days, brothers and sisters. This is the periodic period table of elements. This is what's so deep. In the beginning, hydrogen, hydro, water, generation, generating water, created the sun. Helium is Helios, which means the sun. In the beginning, water created the sun. This whole cosmic play is right here in this periodic table of elements, right? But we're not talking about that. We just telling you this vertical column is called family. So they know we have lead in our family, right? But it's lower than us. So when we bond, when this carbon, mind you, when carbon bonds with iron, it makes steel. It makes a very strong crystal. This is what they build their buildings out of. This is what your car is made out of, your engine blocks, all this. When your carbon bonds with iron, it makes steel. Okay, so when this carbon bonds with lead, it makes a very powerful crystal. I showed you guys a documentary called The Great Culling, which you guys can look at. The white scientist explained to you guys. He said that we know our carbon forces us to bond with the lead 600% times more than a European, 300% times more than a Mexican. So our crystals make crystal bonds that are so strong that only other crystals can tear apart those bonds. This is why this is called Crystal Wars. But remember, the Blanco knew these was Crystal Wars a long time ago because he was making movies called Star Wars. Remember, we told you stars are plasma, plasma are crystals. He told you these were Crystal Wars a long time ago. He told you these were Crystal Wars a long time ago. All right? So, let's see. I'm just looking at the chat right quick. Yeah, say crystals of magic, alchemy. Yeah, so if you guys ain't got, oh yeah, I would say my dad is from the Eastern Part. I was reading that. Tell me chiefs would wear leopard skins, be able to transform into, yeah, of course. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a science that we don't want to familiarize ourselves with because, of course, they can't have us going to that next level. All right? They can't have us going to that next level, but understanding the route you have to take. Get your crystals right. All right? Invest in the water, your water crystals. Okay? That's what Maurice Miller says, so we can turn lead into gold. This is alchemy. Remember what I told you. Most of what this is why my favorite cartoon is called The Full Metal Alchemist. I don't know if y'all rock with a lot of that anime, but my favorite cartoon is Full Metal Alchemist. You have to understand, you're mostly metallic. The Transformers and all that, these are all movies about you and your capabilities. You're mostly metallic. Calcium is a metal. Iron is a metal. Manganese, magnesium, okay, sodium, these are all metals, brothers and sisters.
That's right.
These are all
and they inside of you. Gold is inside of you.
Gold is inside of you. Copper is inside of you. These
That's
are
right.
all metals. That's why they call that cartoon The Full Metal Alchemist, because they know that we got you thinking of chemistry in terms of beakers and liquids. That's when you hear chemistry, you start thinking beakers and liquids and gases and shit. No, the vast majority of alchemy is metal work. That's right. Why the alchemists call themselves masons. Okay, so this is very important stuff, very important work as you go into 2024, understanding that this is a crystal race. The arms race for technology, all is centered around crystals, brothers and sisters, and you're at the center of it. You're the centerpiece. Okay, this is why every time you look around, the Blanco always has all his issues revolve right back around to you, because he has to have you participate in the rituals. Okay, has to have you participate in the ritual. So in order to guard against that, make sure that all your crystal work is to the T. All of these artificial crystals that he makes in his lab is deadly to you. It's a poison to you.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because remind you, crystals do not come by themselves. They always like to pair each other. So when you hear glucose and fructose, those sugars come in nature, and then they come in, and the Blanco calls them sucrose, but he makes his own artificial version called table sugar, sucrose. But in plants have sucrose and fructose, and fructose and glucose, and they bind it together and make sucrose. And they actually literally look like they're holding hands. Here goes your Osiris and Isis. These powerful crystals always come paired together. And the Blanco has manipulated this Kundalini energy. So we wonder why when we hear all of these benefits to cocoa, called theobroma, the food of the gods, and pineapples and all of these crystals, we like, well, how come it don't work? I eat these crystals all the time. I don't feel all these benefits, because he knows when he puts in the bad crystals, they can create a cascade. And then when you put in the oxygen or the fire crystal, it then causes inflammation. So remember, this is a constant play of crystal work. You fail to realize that when you eat, you activate your food from the oxygen that you put in. Oxygen comes in and bangs it. Hits that sugar, right? That carbon, that hydrogen, and that oxygen. Because remember, a carbohydrate is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And when you breathe in more oxygen, it hits that carbohydrate, splits it, and it takes away the hydrogen, and then you breathe out carbon dioxide. This is the literal chemical reaction. You will eat sugar, breathe in oxygen, and oxygen will come in there and oxidize shit, try to bond with shit, and it will push away hydrogen, and then you will breathe out carbon dioxide. Carbon is one carbon and two oxygen molecules. Di just means two. Carbon dioxide. So it's always the play of crystals. And oxygen is the fire. That's why when you hear about pyramid, pyra means fire, middle, fire in the middle. They knew that these pyramids were by water because water holds a lot of fire. Water holds heat. We know that. This is why you use water to release heat. That's why you sweat. So water holds a lot of heat. And we know heat is even further crystals. It's even more crystals, right? Because an electron is in crystal formation. So you just have crystals inside of bigger crystals. Okay, so at the end of the day, like we said, now we know that in order to get our shit right, we got to get on our crystal work. It's that shadow work that we talked about.
That's right. That's right.
That shadow work, that's your crystal work, brothers and sisters. So now, and this is very important because now, like we said, we see things differently now. We know now that, our crystal work, if it's on point, we're going to be on point. Yeah, we're going to have some hang-ups. We're going to have some, times when we fall off, right? And we start eating a lot of that crap. But you got to understand that this food is a weapon. Our people knew what to grow. Our food that we was growing was according to our crystals.
Yeah.
Okay, corn. Mind you, when the Blanco makes high fructose corn syrup, remember, fructose and glucose come together. So what he does in his labs is he take out most of the glucose and puts more fructose, and then he calls it high fructose corn syrup. Because he knows, as I said, Maurice Miller says, how can we tell real crystals from fake ones? Well, the real crystals lie in being what they call raw. That's why they always tell you that the best diet was a raw diet, because those are the crystals in its raw form. So a lot of times when you get in the seed, which is the most, like they said, the power of a mustard seed. So you got all this symbolism now. A seed is a crystal. A seed is a crystal. So you can a lot of times get your seeds in powder form. Like, you got the cocoa seed that's ground into powder. Cocoa powder. Remember, we told you that cocoa, if it ends with the A, because here go the Blanco spells, if it ends with an A, it's been roasted and it's been irradiated or radiated. Okay? If the cocoa ends with the O, you got the right cocoa. You got the theobroma, or the food of the gods. Just by the spelling, the Blanco throws you off. So then you got cinnamon. He sells you a certain cinnamon, right? That comes from a cassie tree. The most cinnamon comes from China, Indonesia, and Vietnam. All right. Then there's a cinnamon called Ceylon cinnamon. Okay. It's called Ceylon cinnamon. And the Ceylon cinnamon is called the true cinnamon. That just basically says that it comes from a tree in Sri Lanka, which is in the subcontinent of India, right? Indian subcontinent. So hold on, let me interject right quick. Leonard Peel says cocoa dark chocolate. Yeah, dark chocolate is alkalized. When they make it alkaline, or alkaloids rather. So actually, in all actuality, dark chocolate is not as nutritious as regular powder, cocoa. All right, mind you, the cocoa got an end in an O, And the cocoa that's brown is actually better than the one that's dark. Always got to remember that. Because when they make it, they'll tell you it's alkali. That's when they make it alkaloid, they take away some of the nutrients of the cocoa. You always got to remember that, okay? And this is like this crystal work. But remember, brothers and sisters, like we said, we've spent time, hours in shopping malls trying to match shoes and shirts and coats and stuff to each other. If we can't find a few minutes to make sure the right crystals that we need to have in our body, then our priorities is all fucked up. All we have to do is understand that anytime we're dealing with crystals with the Blanco,
That's right.
and to make sure that they the right crystals, we have to go raw. And the best way a lot of times making sure, one, that the main crystal you mixing your crystals with is pristine, which is the water. The water has to be filtered correctly. You can get you some water filters, reverse osmosis filters. But the problem with reverse osmosis filters is that they take out everything. So a lot is some deals on filters on Amazon where they've got a remineralization filter. But even if you can't remineralize the water, make sure that your other crystals contain the minerals, like cocoa and cinnamon. They contain calcium. You know that cinnamon contains 100% of the calcium your body needs. You see what I'm saying? It has antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal. You see what I'm saying? Well, cocoa and coca are not from different plants. They're actually from the coconut or seed. It's just that coca, that's spelled with an A, is actually, it goes through a roasting process and they radiate it. That's why they spell it with an A. They both come from the seed, but it's how they process them is what makes them different. Okay, we read an article. I produced an article on that in one of the last segments. I think it was in Crystal Wars 2. So Kristen Powell says cocoa is amazing. I drink it before meditation. Yeah, because you're getting the right crystals. And you pair it with crystals. Remember, you start to do your crystal work. Cinnamon is a crystal. You see what I'm saying? See, they notice because when they sell you these spices, as they call them, they accompany them with other sugars. Remind you, the Blancos went to the New World for these crystals. Remember, they told you that Columbus went to the New World for these spices and sugars or these crystals. This is how important it was to these Europeans. They went to the New World to get to these crystals. So when our ancestors told us that these crystals were like theobroma or food of the gods, we got to pay attention to our ancestors. These Blancos sitting up telling us that, oh, they believe that the world was flat and all of this. But the people who believe that the world was flat was building pyramids and making Olmec heads, monolith structures out of volcanic rock. I don't care what they believe. Whatever they was doing, obviously they was more on point than your ass, because whatever that you doing is causing the world to reach a point where you talking about total annihilation. So I'd rather go with people when the earth was balanced and it seems like they were doing a whole lot than somebody who's used up all of the earth's resources and talking about total annihilation and cataclysm. You see what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
You feel what I'm saying, sister? So with that being said, like we said, we can become the real men and women of steel. Remember, carbon is in your skin. Iron is in your blood. Your thoughts are electric current, so you create this electrical energy around you to magnetize yourself. And then you can take advantage of all the crystal work and everything this planet has to offer. That's how you do this. This is how you accomplish God body for the man and the black woman, the black man and the black woman. This is how you accomplish it. Getting the right crystals, doing the crystal work or the shadow work, and then taking off from there. So I just wanted to give y'all some alchemical secrets to start y'all off on the right path for 2024, understanding this about this crystal work. And this is why I rarely drop, because this is what I spend most of my time doing, the crystal work. When I was an alchemist and people were teaching me alchemy, they taught me a lot of the symbols. You see what I'm saying? So I had to, the bird in the wing carries the egg shit. I had to, decipher all of that shit. And so now, once I realized that it was crystal work, and, I talked to the person who was the one who dropped a lot of my alchemical jewels. He was like, oh, you finally found out, right? So I was excited because he said, now it means a lot to you, though. So I was like, yeah, it does. But I'm saying that I felt that even though he told me not to disclose this, I realized that I'm talking to people who already done a lot of this work. You see what I'm saying? I have faith that you guys already know that you're prepped mentally to be responsible for the energy. Remember Superman in Smallville? Remember in the movie when he ran
Yes.
into the closet and he said the world is too big, mom, and she said make it small because see his sexual energy was going off. He was able to see
Mm-hmm.
vision. He's seen his, he started seeing the heartbeat and the skeletal structure of his classmate. And he got scared because his sexual energy was going crazy. Because you got a lot of people out there talking about they're ready to be gods. But once that energy goes crazy or you can't control it, you'll be trying to commit yourself to a psychiatric hospital.
That's right.
Are you really ready for that godlike energy? Are you really ready to hear voices from radio waves and not understand it? Okay, that's radio waves I've tapped into. Remember with Lucy. Remember Lucy, that movie Lucy. Remember when she started waking up and her intelligence was rising? She was able to see cell phone signals and the kinetic energy through trees, the sexual energy through trees. Now the average person would have went crazy. I can hear this, I can hear that. No, when you know what the energy is, this is what allows you to intelligently experience the energy. Rather than going crazy and looking like some madman or some mad woman talking about you hear voices.
Right.
If you teleport from one place to another, end up in the bedroom, in your bedroom, and then end up at your job, you will go crazy. See, this is why the brain doesn't even allow you to use all this energy. And then when you sleep, the brain says, I finally can be me. I finally can fly. I finally do it. Because if I was to do all of this shit while the person was conscious, they would go crazy. You share this vessel with an innate intelligence, and that innate intelligence is sexual energy, and that sexual energy is guided and driven by a vehicle you call crystals. So crystallogens do the work. And I said all that to say this. Who is God? God is the judge. And why is she the judge? Because she decides who wins and loses, not my opponent. Who is my opponent? My opponent does not exist. And why does he not exist? Because he is merely a dissenting voice to the truth I speak. So we need to speak the truth. All right.
Yes, brother. Yes, yes, yes. Powerful, powerful. I love when we can go into this type of information. I don't do it often. I'm always on this history and the law and some of this stuff. I tell everyone like it's all tied in together. You know, um, Spiritually and mentally, you have to be capable in so many different ways and knowing you and knowing what's going on with you, being able to control that. That's like the most powerful part. You got to control you. You got to know how to control your energy, know how to tame it, know how to maintain it. This is actually what you call harnessing your energy, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
letting it just like take over you, but you being able to control it. Don't let it consume you. That happens when you don't have control because you don't have the proper guidance in what's going on with your own self. You're not even in tune with yourself. You got to really do these things. It's important.
Yeah, it is. Maurice Miller said, but why did the kryptonite make Superman weak? Well, remember, krypton or kryptonite shows you that it's bonded with something. Just like how when you see when you hear um
Right, Didi.
fluorine, fluoride, right? And he wasn't the real Superman, right?
Right.
Because if you notice, the color that he's allergic to is green, which is representative of Earth. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of other symbolism. But yeah, it shows you that crystal, because as you see, even when Superman goes back to his ship in all Superman movies, he's surrounded by crystals. He's surrounded by crystals.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's crashed at is in crystals. When they do the modern Superman movies and stuff, he's underwater in ice crystals. They go to Antarctica. They do all of this real heavy symbolism and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that shows you that it's mixed with another crystal or another frequency that he can't take. It's similar to us. We have a crystal that Blancos have used. Remember, we disclosed, remember, because I was building on these things. I even did a build here on Sistar's channel with Killers of the Flower Moon, right? Killers of the Flower Moon, where we showed you, we talked about the Blanco was showing you that he was giving the Indians they bad crystals and giving them diabetes. Remember,
That's right.
diabetes is the number one metabolic illness on this planet. It's the number one killer.
Yep.
You don't know how to manage your blood sugar. And he tell you that your blood sugar, your blood runs off glucose. Your brain runs off glucose. So it runs off these crystals that come from, look, this is deep. Let's go sidebar right quick. Because I was talking about this on my channel. We talk about iron. Remember, we just talking about iron, how the iron in your blood helps
Yes.
you to become a magnet.
Yes.
Okay. The Blanco gets, mind you, we already have told you that iron is a crystal. We showed you this is a
Mm-hmm.
study and everything is crystal work. Okay. So the Blanco needs to get his crystal or his iron from what? He needs to get it from animals. It's in the blood of animals. This is why the Blanco likes his meat bloody or rare,
Mm-hmm.
because iron is in the blood. The two types of iron are called heme iron and non-heme iron. Non-heme iron is in plants. Heme is a ring. You familiar with this term by something called hemoglobin.
Mm-hmm.
Heme is an organic life ring. Globin is a protein molecule, right? And iron is what holds this whole protein complex together. The Blanco tells you it's what helps to carry oxygen. This crystal, right? This flammable crystal is what iron helps you to, distribute throughout your entire body. Okay. So the point is that he has to get this light crystal from animal blood. Now, this is one thing that should alarm you. You're looking at plants and you're like, okay, plants contain iron. You all know that. The Blanco will tell you that it's iron in plants. But you didn't sit back and think and say, the Blanco just told me it's a metal inside of plants. What is metal doing inside of a plant? You didn't ask yourself this because you're not looking at your plants as containing metal crystals. What was that other question? I was looking at a question. Say, like, we went to another planet from Earth, weakening us when we're away from our natural. Well, I always build things. The ideological stance I make is that there are no other planets. There's other dimensions.
Right.
With me, I don't deal with outer space. Blanco ain't never been to outer space, brother, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
Outer space, he ain't gonna be able to go to outer space. The firmament is what was all
Gonna
right.
burn their ass right on up
You
so
see
they
what I'm
can get
saying?
close enough to it.
Yeah, right. They can't take the crystal work that's up in that firmament. Mind you, they separated the waters above from the waters below by a firmament, a crystal makeup. You see what I'm saying? So, remember, that's the Blanco sit up there and confuse you with his spell work, call some extraterrestrial. Terrestrial mean Earth. How you gonna be extra Earth? How you gonna not come from Earth and be extra Earth? Extraterrestrial. Make it make sense. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Think
Make it
about it.
make
The
sense.
Blanco just told you everything you made up of is from Earth. He showed you a whole periodic table of elements and tell you what you need in your diet. So this is there's other dimensions. There definitely are other dimensions. You better realize that. But yeah, see, I see where you were getting at, because they always got to show you. They're showing you that their crystals is foreign. See, that's the symbolism with this outer space shit. Blanco ain't never been in outer space. Every time he talk about going to outer space, we don't never see no cameras in the actual rocket ship. We don't want to see you taking off, bitch. We want to see you in the rocket ship out in space doing your thing. We want to see you.
Yeah.
You got cameras, bitch. You can look at your camera and look at Earth while you floating away from that motherfucker, but you won't do that, will you? Only thing he gonna show is him taking off and coming back. In the year of technology where he got all this shit where he can monitor every fucking movement, he show his ass taking off, coming back. Okay.
And the last one, bro, when they did it, if I can remember, when they had what's his name, the guy from Star Trek, I forget his name, the one that played in Star Trek. Remember, he went and did the launch, a couple of years back here in Texas, and then they landed, they took off, and then it was like, okay, they landed. It's like literally like 4 minutes later. So I'm telling people, I'm like, how this happen? How did his family get from one spot to the next spot, and they there like four minutes or so later? It was really weird. And they're talking about, oh, well, that's space time. The time is space. I'm like,
Yeah,
are you
because they
really
moved the
serious? People are
goalposts. If
really
you notice,
crazy.
sis, notice they moved the goalposts. Now they saying space is still in the Earth's atmosphere, technically. You see what I'm saying? So that's why these Blancos, they love, man, I'm telling you, they love moving the goalposts. But they know that these Star Wars are crystal wars. This is the next
That's
level.
right.
Any type of evolution in terms of human progress we've made with crystals. Even if you go from the crystals that we use for our technology, that's made out of sand. If you're looking at how microchips are made, they are made from sand. The very thing that you are made out of, the Blanco is taking from outside Earth and then creating artificial
That's
technology.
right.
And it's always been to go to war with you. And you sit up here running around black people like, man, we live rent free in white folks here. Why they always messing with us? Because you don't know what you are. You think it has something to boil down with you being good and working a good job and being college educated and, going to the, obeying his laws, and that ain't got nothing to do with that. That Blanco know what you are. And the first one of you to wake up, because remind you, you fought to be here. A lot of our teachers act like, oh, death, because even I respect Bobby Hemmett, but a lot of Bobby Hemmett work was all about, embracing death and talking about our ancestors did that. I believe that's muddy, because remember, the interpretation of what our ancestors believe is given to us by Europeans. So we got to be careful of that. So my thing is that if you fought, remind you, when a man ejaculates, that's about almost 5 to 6 million sperm cells fighting to fertilize one egg. So if you fighting 6 million people to get here, that has to tell you that it's something here worth fighting for, because you fight to get here. You see what I'm saying? And we know when we can become the guys that we know that we are innately are, oh, everything of this artificial matrix come crumbling down, and it's going to be the best life you could ever live. Oh, you living your best life for real. And that's why you fought to get here. Because you are not flesh and blood, as was led to believe. You are a metallic organic being. You are a transformer, if you will. You are a full metal alchemist, if you will. It's so many combinations of carbon, they lost track. The chemistry council is like, we got millions of different combinations. Okay? So that's why I tell you all the time is that when you understand that you can make these different combinations, that you're crystal. Even y'all, are y'all familiar with that movie Twilight? Remember Twilight? And remember, it's about them vampires and werewolves and stuff.
I never seen it, but I do remember. I remember when it came out. They had like 2-3 series or something, right? Because I'm like, dang, they made another one.
They ain't made any recent ones, but remember when he was in the sunlight, he would sparkle like a crystal. And it was sparkling inside. And they were telling you this all about crystal work. You got to remember, I think her name is Anne Rice or Anne Brown. I think it's Anne Rice. She wrote the series about the vampires. Remember, interviewing made into a movie with Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise. Yeah, that was Interview with the Vampire. That was based off her book. Well, it was a series, and her series was climaxed with the movie. What was it? Aaliyah played in that movie. It was called Queen of the Damned.
Yes.
She was, mind you, they had a black woman play because that's what they realized. Mind you, that the black woman, her name was Akasha. She was seen as the progenitor vampire. She was the queen of all vampires. And she was supposed to have been a queen of Egypt.
Right.
This is what's so deep. So this movie was based off of that. Remind you, this is another Blanco woman writing occult movies that now they make a series on Broadway. They made 2 movies out of Interview with the Vampire, which had, a large critical acclaim with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. Then you have Queen of the Damned, which a lot of people gave it a thumbs down, but that's why the Blanco didn't release it. You think the Blanco was going to make that movie good? A movie that talked about a black woman being the start of all of this chaotic energy? You think they was gonna let that fly? Of course they had to make that movie garbage, but they
had to put that truth out there. They got to tell you the truth.
They could have made that movie the bomb.
Yep.
Right, and they killed her after that movie. You see what I'm saying? Of course, because you pay for telling the truth. Just like we said, Jonathan Majors, he played in a TV series called Lovecraft Country, which told you about black and white crystal magic, how white people came here trying to take over our crystals, and our job is to grab it back so that they can't do our magic. That was a powerful series.
That's right.
You got to watch Lovecraft Country.
I'm gonna watch it, brother, because I heard about it a couple of times.
Sis, man, I'm telling y'all, if y'all don't do one thing, is to watch Lovecraft Country.
I'm gonna watch it.
That shit is so deep. They talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma, all of that. They show you all of these events, the esoteric reason behind these events, how black people been guarding our magic, even in the church, how it was our black witches in the church guarding our magic, acting like they was Christians, but we're witches. Guarding black magic. Woo, this shit's so deep.
That is. Because that's true. All that is true. I've never seen the movie on it, but I'm definitely going to watch that, bro. I know you mentioned it before.
Listen, so we could protect our energy, so we could protect the energy on this planet, protect Mother Earth, Mother Nature. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, all of this is critical. You guys gonna start off 2024 understanding that you're the crystallogians. You see what I'm saying? Oh yeah, Dark Crystal's another movie watch. Yeah, all of this stuff for crystal work. Remember when you see the crystal play? Remember I told y'all, in order for them to capture the sunlight, you got to capture it with crystals. You get if you got a solar generator, you're gonna have solar panels.
And
Those
brother, they don't
panels are made
believe
of crystals.
they don't believe that crystals have power. And I got on the panel one day, right, and I was telling them, and they was like, they laughed me off so bad. Oh, that's pseudo. This I said, listen, I was telling them, I said, you guys are crystal. I said, you don't think that a crystal would affect another crystal? And your energy, its energy, you don't think it would make a difference? I was telling them how you could like put certain crystals in your water and drink it. You could put
Yeah,
them in your
yeah,
bath water for
yeah,
healing certain things.
yeah.
They're like, that's pseudo, that's pseudo. I'm like,
Sister,
they
because
just don't get it.
listen, then you got to ask them what's sugar, what's salt, what's sugar and salt. Matter of fact, the Blanco will put crystal sugar on the package. He will call it crystal sugar. And then
Yep.
if he manipulates it to lower the calories, he will call it crystal light sugar.
Right.
The fuck is wrong with these niggas? See, what he did was that he only giving you a little bit of it in things that can make him and you comfortable. All right. Like we talk about crystals, right? Crystals are seen as demonic energy because, like we told, this is why it's so hard for us to talk about crystals. But when I tell you
Yeah.
how Blanco uses crystals, all of a sudden it's more digestible to our people, right? Because the Blanco's saying it. But when Black said it,
Yeah,
come
let
up
them tell it.
pseudo. Let them tell it, right? So when you take a look at these crystals, right? Um, you know, one thing that you gotta understand is we're always taking in crystals, and we take a look at a ritual. Remember, I just brought this up. When the Blanco, when you marry somebody, you give them a crystal. It's called a diamond. You see what I'm saying? But you're comfortable with giving somebody a crystal as long as the preacher say, yeah, put the ring on their finger. What? Fuck the ring. What's on the ring? On top of the ring is a crystal. Why am I giving this crystal to this person?
To bind them.
To
Because you
bind
putting
them.
that binding ring, a circle around that finger, and
You
it's
see?
binding it with the crystal.
And the crystal also represents what? Sexual energy, because we told you
Mm-hmm.
that sexual
Bind
energy,
you to that person.
it
But you
binds you to
already
the
bound
person.
once you lay down to them. That's how people don't even understand the sorcery in that marriage. I be telling them about that all the time too, brother. Sorcery,
Yeah,
witchcraft.
and like we said, everything being crystals, you can't help but to do crystal work, period.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? When you understand that everything is crystal, just like if you tell somebody, the Blanco will tell you, and bring up winter to somebody and always let them know you got this down pat. If you tell them, if you tell them like, okay, go outside when it's snow and you see ice hanging off your roof, right? What does the Blanco tell you? He says that's an ice crystal. He tells you that's a crystal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He tells you when the water freezes, it crystallizes. You know it, you see it. You froze water before. You see the crystals in water when you freeze it. Okay? So the thing is, you'll drink that water. And have you ever been outside when it's hot and you got the crystal cubes in your water, and you can see as the cubes get smaller, you can start seeing the crystal in the water. But where are the crystals going? They just change into liquid.
Mm-hmm.
They're
What
still
about
there. They just change into liquid.
brother? What about with the if you have a metal pole, right? That's
Mhm.
frozen. You stick your tongue on your wet tongue with the saliva on that metal pole, it's gonna stick because it's gonna start binding because you have metal in you, and then that the crystallization from that metal, it'll make it start binding to you, and you can't even like peel it off. Like it'll
Because
literally peel you.
that's the only way things bond, sister. And the only way you can
Yep,
get it off is if what? The warm, mind you, because all things crystallize at
that's
certain
right.
temperatures. So as long as that contact is cold, those crystals are going to stay bonding. But as the temperature increases, then those crystals, then they go through chemical changes. And all of a sudden, those water crystals, which when water crystallizes, got to be cold. All of a sudden, when it warms up, it turns to a liquid. Then you can down take your tongue off of that, you know what I'm saying? That surface. It's just like metals. When you heat the metals, then the crystals they turn to a liquid. And then when it cools and goes back to room temperature, they turn back to crystals. And this is how you put two metals together. You manipulate crystals through temperature.
Yep.
That's how you bond. And I've showed you unequivocal evidence that what did the Blancos say? Different types of crystal bonding is covalent, metallic, ionic. Okay, these are the only type of bondings that crystals do. And conveniently enough, these are the bondings that I teach you in chemistry class. That conveniently enough, you forget because I teach you this in 4th and 5th grade. And unless you go off into a college career where you pursue chemistry and healthcare, you won't know nothing about it. And even doctors don't know nothing about chemistry. That's why doctors wait for the pharmaceutical companies or the people who are the chemists to see what they give you and to see how they manipulate your crystals. You got to understand all these are crystals. Everything. And then we participate in these rituals, right? Where we're comfortable with them telling us which crystals we should be comfortable with. Ain't that something? I'm uncomfortable with crystals when I talk about, crystals you wear on you and all that different stuff. But as long as somebody gives me a crystal on my ring finger, I'm fine.
Exactly. I'll accept that. That's great.
I'll accept that crystal.
It's
Oh
a
yeah,
symbol. Look, it's a
that's
symbol. They
yeah,
get so caught up in them symbols, the symbolism.
exactly. That's pseudo crystals you talking about. But
Hmm.
I'll put this sugar and salt on my food. I'll put these crystals on my food. It's the most ridiculous shit in the world. It's the
Yes,
most
yes,
ridiculous.
yes.
And this what happens when you speak in ignorance and you don't understand what's going on.
Wow.
And ain't
They
that
sure
something
do.
divine? Don't they? Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I
oh,
love this chat. Don't they?
bro, they got all the incense. We
Man.
got candles.
But
We
did
got, I'd be
I
like,
tell
Lord,
you? Hey sister, did I not lie? Was I lying when I said that they want to control the
that's
crystal
right.
energy? You associate when they give you an image of a crystal person in crystals. You imagine a Blanco woman with orange or red hair running around with all these crystals. They
Mm,
capture your imagination. You don't
mm.
imagine a sister who is the essence of crystals.
That's right.
That ain't the first image, just like with Jesus. You don't see, remind you, feminine energy is behind all great male energy. The most phenomenal male energy to be on this planet supposedly was Jesus. But then who brought Jesus here? Wasn't it Mary? See, you got to understand all the crystal energy, all important male energy has an important crystal energy behind him. Any real man loves his mother. That's the crystal energy portal he came through.
Mm-hmm.
There's no significant masculine energy without feminine energy literally being behind it.
Period.
When you want to grow as a strong crystal, you got to feed off your mother's lactose crystal energy.
That's right.
We've already shown you these things. Black people can deny it all they want, but you know what? They're going to be the ones stuck. It's not for us to convince them, brothers and sisters. You know to do the crystal work. That's why they said this path will be the one least traveled. This path will be the narrow road. Not everybody
Right.
will get it. You wonder why they hid this information? It wasn't that the information was hidden. It's because if you gave it to people, people would reject it. And not only would they reject it, people would try to kill you for believing this way. So you got to understand, secret societies were not formed to keep things from people. They were formed because they had no choice. When I come to you telling you the truth, what happens? I got this saying that I say, you're not telling the truth until you piss everybody off. The
Yeah.
truth pisses people off. The truth pisses people off. Secret societies are not made to keep stuff from people. They're made because people have no choice. All right. So that's what I got. And then, this gives people a couple minutes. I believe people should have at least a couple minutes before this so-called New Year comes in, because it don't matter. Like we said, we know the real New Year start with spring, because that's
That's
when
right.
it started. Okay. But we got to understand that there's a lot of energy in this new year or new revelation. So we need to take advantage of the energy, right?
That's
That's why,
right.
like when these winter solstices come around, which is winter solstice, just, this energy is still happening, right? Now our central power source is about to start coming back our way. All right. That's
Yes.
why we're about to see spring come up, or the crystals. We're about to see the Blanco try to take over that fertility energy again.
That's
Okay?
right.
Goddesses of fertility is white women and stuff. She wants to take over that crystal energy. All right. So it's important that we use these times to manifest ourselves, make dedications to ourselves, use this as an opportunity to turn an opinion to a conviction. We are convinced that we are the crystallogians. We don't need affirmations. We know that everything in the Blanco's artificial matrix is to adulterate the crystal energy, therefore
Mm-hmm.
preventing us from being a light fiend. Because if you ain't got the right crystals, you're not making the right light. So you can't become light like everybody talked about. You can't attract things to you like everybody. Oh, just think it and it will come. Bitch, you got to magnetize yourself first. There's
Yes.
ways you do this shit. It just ain't about thinking it. You got to build this mechanical or metallic organic organism to do what you want it to do, and it will obey. You know how they do that? Remember when Bobby Hemming was walking around talking about how we can make the gods do what we want them to do? And everybody was thinking that Bobby was insane. But then yet the white folks made a movie called Aladdin, where a white dude rubbed the lamp and told a god to do what it wanted it to do. You got 3 wishes. Your wish is my command. And we sat up and we watched that movie and we said, look, when the Blanco says it though, it's all right. I'll pay to see the Blanco say it. But Bobby Hemmett said you can get gods to do what you want them to do. And you didn't believe it. You thought he was talking out the side of his fucking neck.
In the gateway experiment, brother, I did a reading on it. And it's showing that we are literally the guys and the power we have, everything we always talking about, but you be sharing over here, all that information confirmed, showing that literally we can teleport, literally walk through walls, shapeshift, formatting your light to actually be able to shift through material objects. And they did an experiment on us, and only us, copper people, were the ones that they did these experiments on that were able to do these things, all of our telepathic abilities and everything just based off the meditation meditative practices and everything that they were experimenting with, literally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
CIA
Yep.
unclassified document just released 2 years ago.
Yep. And they had a movie they made about it with George Clooney, which was The Men Who Stare at Goats. The
Mm,
Men Who Stare at Goats, about the CIA. And then they got the documents that were released according to the Freedom of Information Act about syncing the two hemispheres of the brain.
that's what the gateway experiment
Yep, it's
is.
called,
Yep.
yep, hemi syncing. It's called hemi
Yep.
syncing.
Hear me sinking. That's exactly what it is.
How you crystallize the
That's
brain.
right.
Remember, the brain has crystals that it works off of, where it runs off called glucose, and then it
Yep.
stores these crystals in the form of glycoproteins. Okay, and it desperately tries to protect these crystals because you have something
That's
called the
right.
blood-brain barrier, which doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Okay, yeah, Tris. Oh yeah, work tomorrow. Have a great rest of the evening. Okay, have a blessed one, sister.
Have a
Appreciate you,
great one. Thanks for
coming.
joining.
You know what I'm saying? And happy new revelation too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's a new opportunity to make new revelations and stuff. But yeah, they already let you know that this is really what this is about,
That's
hands down.
right.
You know what I mean? So that's what we need to do. So I'm gonna end it. That's really all I have to contribute to this broadcast. But yeah, Bruce Lee was called. Yeah, he made a Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
Um, because that's a big part of Chinese culture, the dragon. You see what I'm saying? The fire principle, because it spits fire. Remember, fire is a crystal. You see what I'm saying? A crystal that activates, the body to create this energy field. And once you're magnetized, you can move stuff. That's where you get all this power in this chi.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, chi is fire. You see what I'm saying? And all of these chakras operate from this kinetic energy, this plasma energy or crystal energy that we need to master. Okay, so yeah, and so yeah, we got to get an understanding of that. Signs and symbols, to become symbol literate, and to understand that the crystals that we take in, when we make sure that the crystals are up to par, we're doing a great job. We're operating in the leaps and bounds in terms of getting to the highest level. So
That's right.
that's all I got. For this segment, and yep, and you guys need to take a few minutes to decompress and get ready for a new year where you're looking at things from a different perspective. Your world is different now, and that's how you should see it.
Yes, based off what they're doing, y'all know we believe that the new year is not to March. What, the 21st of March was the real true new year, but we are bringing this in with the celebration of newness coming into the so-called new year of 2024. We know what time is, and how it's a manipulation as well, but as we're in this 3D time matrix, we're going along with the scheme. But yeah, peace and bliss to everybody, brother. You already know I appreciate you so much. You always come with the fire. You always come and
Oh, no
confirm so many things I talk about and actually break it down with the science and all of that, which I really appreciate. You're the best, like truly. I appreciate you so much. And yeah, you have a great one too, bro. And yeah, peace out to next year.
right. So next year, let's get it.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Go ahead and get ready to spend the next little few minutes with your family or what have you. I know some people are celebrating or doing certain things. If you're doing that, or you're just spending family time, or you're in your immediate family, make sure you're enjoying them and making sure they're, committing themselves to doing things that'll make them better, enlighten themselves, bringing them to a better frequency, and you know, a better them. Period in the time coming up. So peace, love, and bliss to everybody. And yeah, y'all have a great one.
Peace.
Peace.